Chapter 1389. However, Yi Xian still had to pray that the sect master of the Burning Cloud sect did not refine the fire cloud flame. The sect master of the Burning Cloud sect was at the 9th level of the Nirvana realm, while Hall Master Cui was at the peak of the 9th level. The former had the fire cloud flame, while the latter had the dragon phoenix flame. Even Hall Master Cui failed to refine the dragon phoenix flame, and the fire cloud flame was ranked higher than the dragon phoenix flame. The sect master of the Burning Cloud sect, who was slightly weaker than Hall Master Cui, should have failed to refine the fire cloud flame. An hour later, Yi Xian saw the Burning Cloud sect built in a blazing valley. The people of the Burning Cloud sect mainly cultivated the flame divine ability, and their battle strength was extremely strong. Yi Xian was at the 6th level of the Nirvana realm, and his aptitude was not bad. Any random elite from the Burning Cloud sect had a higher cultivation than him. However, Yi Xian swaggered along with Song Suijing and Song Jeju to the entrance of the Burning Cloud sect. "Who are you?" the guarding disciple of the Burning Cloud sect furiously shouted. Yi Xian did not say anything and restrained the two of them. He then used his manifestation force to take off their interspatial rings and rushed into the Burning Cloud sect. Intruder! Seeing an unknown intruder, the disciples of the Burning Cloud sect jumped out one after another to block the intruder. However, Yi Xian, who possessed the Eye of Control, seized all of these people and plundered their belongings. Even the elders of the 7th level of the Nirvana realm did the same. Relying on the Eye of Control, he quickly found the location of the Burning Cloud sect's sect master and rushed over. Along the way, he suddenly swept his gaze and saw some special people. Yin-Yang people? Yi Xian was slightly astonished. He actually saw some Yin-Yang people in the Burning Cloud sect. However, these Yin-Yang people had been captured and imprisoned. Their bodies were riddled with scars and some of their organs had been removed. There was even someone whipping a Yin-Yang person in the distance. After the destruction of the Yin-Yang temple, the once arrogant and despotic Yin-Yang people had become street rats. If they were exposed, they would be caught and used to vent their anger. In broad daylight, a dignified sect actually abused people like this. This sect style was not good. Sect leader of Burning Cloud sect, get the hell out here. Yi Xian suddenly roared at the sky. Even though he who held the Skyquake sword was only at the peak of the 6th level of the Nirvana stage, his current combat strength was sufficient to battle a 9th level Nirvana stage expert. Not to mention that even Hall Master Cui, who was at the peak of the 9th level of the Rebirth stage, had died at Luolua's hands. After a few days of cultivation, Luolua's strength had become even stronger. Nobody below immortal level would be able to withstand Luoluo's attack. Yi Xian's roar was deafening as it reverberated throughout the entire valley. Very soon, a few 8th level Nirvana realm elders jumped out and blew their beards, wanting to beat up Yi Xian. "Whoever blocks me will die," Yi Xian reminded him. But no one listened to what he, who was merely at the 6th level of the Rebirth realm, said. "Brat, you're courting death." An 8th level Nirvana stage Burning Cloud sect elder attacked Yi Xian. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. "You overestimate yourself." Yi Xian snorted coldly and drew his sword. Killing intent eruption. Peerless flaming dragon slash. This move was sufficient to annihilate a 9th level Nirvana stage expert. A golden flame dragon that was even more powerful than the previous one appeared. In the blink of an eye, it swallowed the 8th level Nirvana stage elder. The golden flame dragon whizzed past, leaving behind only a Qian Kuan ring and a weapon. Ding! Host's killing intent has increased. A system notification sounded out. An 8th level Nirvana stage elder was instantly killed by Yi Xian. When this scene entered the ears of everyone, it caused them to be shocked to the point of being speechless. There were geniuses in the Burning Cloud sect that could surpass levels to challenge others, but there wasn't a single person that could surpass 2 levels to challenge others, let alone instantly kill someone that was 2 levels higher than them. Was Yi Xian really only at the 6th level of the Rebirth stage? Yi Xian, who was only at the 6th level of the Rebirth stage, possessed such strength. Then, could it be that the 2 7th level Nirvana stage martial artists behind Yi Xian were even stronger? After seeing this, the rest of the elders were also stunned for a second before attacking at the same time. A total of 3 8th level Nirvana stage elders attacked Yi Xian. Since you're courting death, then don't blame me. Yi Xian's eyes flickered as he attacked again. Killing intent explosion. Peerless flaming dragon slash. Another golden flaming dragon attacked. In addition, this time, even Song Sui Jing and Adjudicator Song attacked. Icefire Yin Yang Sword. Slash. Icefire Yin Yang Sword. Slash. Although the two siblings were only at the 7th level of the Nirvana stage, the Yin Yang Old Ancestor had given them a lot of good things, so was nothing to them to challenge those who were one level higher. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Rip. Crack. The 3 8th level Nirvana stage elders died in different ways. The two who were killed by Song Sui Jing and Adjudicator Song were cut into two halves. Half of their bodies were incinerated, while the other half was frozen into an ice sculpture. Their wounds were sealed by ice, so no blood flowed out. The most miserable one was the elder who was incinerated by the golden flaming dragon. After his death, not even his corpse was left behind. He was directly turned into ashes. After their deaths, Yi Xian quickly took their interspatial rings and began to plunder the interspatial rings of the people around him. Ah, my interspatial ring. No, that's all I have. Where's the sect leader? Why hasn't he come out yet? If he doesn't come out, we'll all die. The 4 great elders have all fallen. Even if the sect leader comes out, he won't stand a chance. Screams resounded one after another. Due to the prestige just now, no one dared to disobey Yi Xian's trio. After all, even the 8th level Nirvana stage elders were killed in seconds. If they dared to resist, only death would await them. Although Yi Xian was not lacking in cultivation resources, Wei Zhentian was lacking in them. Ding! Wei Zhentian has made a breakthrough. He is currently at the 9th level of Nirvana stage. After a round of plundering, Yi Xian heard the system notification that Wei Zhentian had finally made a breakthrough. At the same time, a white figure swept out from the depths of the valley. It was a white-clothed middle-aged man. Who dares to be so presumptuous in my Burning Cloud sect? The white-clothed middle-aged man yelled furiously. He was the sect leader of the Burning Cloud sect. The sect leader is here. The sect leader is finally here. Sect leader, please avenge us. Sect leader, the 4 great elders are dead. They were killed by the 3 of them. After seeing the white-clothed middle-aged man, the morale of the group of disciples soared as if they had seen the dawn of hope. However, Yi Xian did not care about it at all. He only raised his eyebrows slightly. The sect leader of the Burning Cloud sect's aura is only slightly weaker than Hall Master Cui, who is at the peak of the 9th level of Nirvana stage. It seems like he has also made a breakthrough to the peak of the 9th level of Nirvana stage, Yi Xian thought to himself. However, he did not see the mysterious flame in the sect leader of the Burning Cloud sect. He only saw the ordinary Nirvana flame. Chapter 1390. Hand over the fire cloud flame and I'll spare your life. Yi Xian said coldly. This kid actually knows that I have the fire cloud flame? The sect master of the Burning Cloud sect trembled and shouted furiously. Who are you? How dare you kill an elder of my Burning Cloud sect? I'll give you 3 seconds to consider. After 3 seconds, I'll make my move. Yi Xian didn't want to say anything and just stood there. Even if there was a difference of 3 realms between them, he wasn't afraid of the other party. The sect master of the Burning Cloud sect didn't know where Yi Xian came from, nor did he know where Yi Xian picked up the courage to actually ask him to hand over the fire cloud flame. He was really courting death. Even if he could instantly kill 4 elders at the 8th level of the Nirvana stage, so what? Kid, you're courting death. The sect master of the Burning Cloud sect immediately made his decision. In less than a second, he made his move. Since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish. Yi Xian's eyes flickered as he directly made his move. Killing intent explosion. Unparalleled flame dragon slash. Icefire Yin Yang sword. Icefire Yin Yang sword. Yi Xian and the other 2 cooperated and their attack power was extremely terrifying. Even though the sect master of the Burning Cloud sect was at the peak of the 9th level of the Nirvana stage, he actually couldn't withstand this round of attack and was instantly blasted away. However, it wasn't over yet. Whoosh! At the same time, the 9th level of the Nirvana stage Wei Zhentian suddenly tore through the sky and instantly pierced the sect master of the Burning Cloud sect's heart. What surprised Yi Xian was that the system notification didn't sound out. F***CK, the heart is on the right side? Yi Xian's brows raised. He actually saw this when he used the Eye of Revelation earlier, but he was paying attention to the mysterious flame at that time, so he didn't react for a moment. He didn't expect that the sect master of the Burning Cloud sect was actually an anomaly. His heart was actually on the right side. However, so what? Just as the sect master of the Burning Cloud sect was astonished and revealed a terrified expression, a sharp spike suddenly grew out of Wei Zhentian's sword. Swish! This sharp spike pierced the sect master of the Burning Cloud sect's heart on the right side. Countless small spikes grew out of it, even pierced the heart's heart. Ding! Host's killing intent has increased. This system notification proved that the sect master of the Burning Cloud sect had died. Yi Xian immediately rushed over and collected the corpse of the sect leader of Burning Cloud sect and the interspatial ring. Everyone looked at Yi Xian. They were so shocked that they couldn't speak. Not only were the 4 elders killed in an instant, even the sect leader, who was at the peak of the Nirvana realm, was killed in an instant. Who were these 3 people? Which of the surrounding forces could nurture such a genius? Even if the Yin Yang temple hadn't been destroyed, they wouldn't have been able to do it. Under the astonished gazes of these people, Yi Xian found the fire cloud flame in the interspatial ring of the sect master of the Burning Cloud sect and swallowed it. Ding! Host has devoured the fire cloud flame. Ding! Host has broken through to the 7th level of Nirvana stage. Ding! Host has completed the special leveling up mission. Reward: Assassin's Eye is upgraded once. In an instant, Yi Xian's aura skyrocketed. The Assassin's Eye only requires a large amount of killing intent. There is no limit to the number of times it can be used. What effect will there be after the upgrade? Yi Xian was a little surprised. Could it be that the upgrade would increase the range of the Assassin's Eye? If that was the case, it would be a little too useless. After he saw the effect of the upgraded Assassin's Eye, his eyes couldn't help but light up. The upgraded Assassin's Eye didn't increase the range of the skill. Instead, it increased the attack power of the first attack after using the Assassin's Eye. 30%. Yi Xian was very satisfied with the upgrade this time. It seemed that he didn't make a mistake in accepting the special leveling up mission. Then, he swallowed the heaven and earth treasures that he had accumulated previously. Ding! Host has reached the peak of the 7th level of Nirvana stage. Another system notification sounded. Yi Xian also saw the item that he needed to break through to the 8th level of Nirvana stage. 9 Nether Wind Flame. Yi Xian just took note of the name and ignored it. The 9 Nether Wind Flame was very powerful. He should be able to obtain information about it nearby. However, it wasn't the time to look for it now. The Burning Cloud sect is disbanded today. Get lost. Yi Xian's voice fell into everyone's ears. Domineering. Extremely domineering. However, he had domineering strength. After all, he killed the sect leader of the Burning Cloud sect, who was at the peak of the 9th level of Nirvana stage. Even if everyone present joined forces, they wouldn't be a match for him. If anyone is still here in 3 seconds, I will turn him into a corpse. Yi Xian said to the group of Burning Cloud sect disciples who were astonished. Once these words were spoken, the 1,000+ Burning Cloud sect disciples dispersed in an uproar, and all of them flew outside. However, those Yin Yang people couldn't escape because they were imprisoned. Wei Zhentian, set them free. Yi Xian said to Wei Zhentian. Whoosh! Wei Zhentian turned into a stream of light and swept out. After a few crisp sounds, those Yin Yang people's heads were chopped off. Next, Yi Xian quietly waited for the arrival of the Yin Yang old ancestor in the Burning Cloud sect. Yi Xian was ready for a big battle. The Yin Yang old ancestor knew about the Eastern continent. If he wasn't killed, the Eastern continent would be massacred. Therefore he must die. Ding! Luo Luo has broken through. She is currently at the 8th level of Nirvana stage. A system notification interrupted Yi Xian, who was thinking with his eyes closed. Luo Luo had finally broken through to the 8th level of Nirvana stage. This way, they would have more confidence in fighting against the Yin Yang old ancestor. Yi Xian turned his head and saw that the Yin Yang old ancestor's speed had increased a lot. He estimated that they would arrive at the Burning Cloud sect in less than half a day. Wei Zhentian of the 9th level of Nirvana stage, Luo Luo of the 8th level of Nirvana stage, Yi Xian of the 7th level of Nirvana stage, and Old Tree of the 7th level of Nirvana stage were Yi Xian's current team. Although Song Sui Jing and Judge Song were also at the 7th level of Nirvana stage, they didn't have the ability to protect themselves. It would be a tragedy if the Yin Yang old ancestor became flustered and exasperated and dragged them down with him. Moreover, Yi Xian had a 90% chance of winning this battle because Wei Zhentian had yet to use the Blade Storm. If Wei Zhentian of the 9th level of Nirvana stage used the Blade Storm, he would be able to deal with the Yin Yang Old Ancestor. At that time, Luo Luo and Yi Xian would launch a sneak attack. They would have a 90% chance of winning, or even a 100% chance of winning. In less than half a day, Yi Xian sensed the powerful aura. The Yin Yang Old Ancestor had finally arrived. Ha ha ha, stinking brat, you have nowhere to run this time, right? A burst of strange laughter came from afar. Then, a young man in a red and blue robe appeared in front of Yi Xian. At this moment, Yi Xian was already prepared. Yin Yang Old Ancestor, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Yi Xian slowly stood up. You were waiting for us? Chapter 1391. Lu Wenxing thought that Yi Xian was waiting for death because he could no longer use his teleportation skill. He did not expect that he was waiting for him. That's right. Yi Xian nodded. Lu Wenxing was too lazy to care so much. He looked at Song Suijing and Song Caijue who were behind Yi Xian. Two ungrateful wretches. I have trained you for 3 years. How dare you betray me? Lu Wenyue shouted angrily. You old witch. It was clearly you who forcefully abducted us siblings, and now we're the ones who betrayed you? Song Caijue stepped forward and questioned. Humph. Lu Wenxing snorted and did not speak. He had tried to erase or seal the memories of Song Suijing and Song Caijue, but he did not know why he always failed. If he had succeeded, Song Suijing and Song Caijue would have broken through to Nirvana LV9. Brat, are you related to the person who destroyed the Yin Yang Temple? Lu Wenyue asked. Yes. Hearing this, Yi Xian directly nodded and said, if you want to blame someone, blame yourselves for provoking the wrong person. The branch hall on the other side of the Unice region actually robbed a pair of reincarnator siblings. Along the way, a longevity stage powerhouse rescued them. At the same time, they conveniently destroyed your Yin Yang Saint Hall. What? Lu Wenxing and Lu Wenyue shuddered when they heard this. Reincarnator? A reincarnator was at least a rebirth state powerhouse in his previous life. This was the realm after the immortal level. The two of them had cultivated for more than 800 years and were only at LV1 of the immortal level. Not to mention a rebirth state powerhouse, they were ants in front of a LV3 or 4 immortal level powerhouse. They did not expect that they would provoke a reincarnator. Then, they could not blame anyone for the destruction of the temple. Who are they? Although he could not afford to provoke them, Lu Wenxing could not help but ask. Nailan Bing and Nailan Jie. They are known as the Xianming Duo. Yi Xian slowly replied. The Xianming Duo. Lu Wenyue and Lu Wenxing remembered this name. Although they might not be able to take revenge, they had to use revenge to motivate themselves. Perhaps, they would encounter a fortuitous encounter before their end and break through to the rebirth state? Good. Although you are not the one who destroyed the temple, you will definitely die today. After Lu Wenxing finished speaking, Lu Wenyue spoke again. Boy, do you have any last words? I don't have any last words. I just want to ask a question. Yi Xian replied. Ask. Lu Wenxing and Lu Wenyue said in unison, their voices filled with sarcasm. How did you go to the Penglai Divine Land? Yi Xian went straight to the point. Now that he had saved Song Suijing and Song Caijue, he only needed to kill the Yin Yang Old Ancestor to return to Penglai. If the Yin Yang Old Ancestor told them the location of the Trans-Realm Teleportation Array, it would save them a lot of effort. I see. You still want to go back to the Penglai Divine Land? Lu Wenxing narrowed his eyes and said, there is no harm in telling you. There is a Lu family in the north of the Yin Yang Temple. They control a one-way teleportation array. I came to the Penglai Divine Land from that array. The Lu family. Yi Xian narrowed his eyes. He knew that the Yin Yang ancestor's surname was Lu. The elder brother was called Lu Wenxing and the younger sister was called Lu Wenyue. Then, was the Yin Yang ancestor related to the Lu family? Yi Xian was not interested in this question. Since he knew the location of the teleportation array, the next step was to kill the Yin Yang ancestor. Boy, from your eyes, are you thinking of killing me with your 7th level Nirvana realm cultivation? Lu Wenxing sneered. A 7th level Nirvana realm cultivator was just an ant in his eyes. However, he was concerned about the fox girl. She did not seem to be nearby. That fox girl could even kill his first disciple. One had to know that the fox girl was only at the 7th level Nirvana realm at that time. Let's see if I can kill you or not. Yi Xian slightly raised the corner of his mouth. He was ready for battle. As long as they killed the Yin Yang ancestor, they could go home. You too, I will give you a chance. As long as you are willing to cooperate, I will spare his life. What do you think? Lu Wanyue suddenly glanced at Song Sui Jing and Adjudicator Song. Unexpectedly, Adjudicator Song cursed. Go to hell, you old witch. You will have a good time later. How dare you? Fine, after I kill this boy, I will let you know what it means to respect your teacher. Lu Wanyue was furious. However, at this moment, the sky suddenly darkened. Dark night sky curtain. Whoosh! Wei Zhentian took the initiative to attack. He turned into a stream of light and swept toward the Yin Yang ancestor. At the same time, Yi Xian also exchanged for a 7th level Nirvana realm burning sky pill and swallowed it. Come! Yi Xian held the scarlet flame sword and fiercely slashed at the Yin Yang ancestor. Killing intent explosion. Unparalleled flame dragon slash. A golden flame dragon suddenly attacked. This time, Yi Xian did not use the unparalleled flame dragon slash, but the ordinary unparalleled flame dragon slash. He wanted to pretend that he was very weak. This way, the Yin Yang ancestor would lower his guard and they would have a higher chance of winning. In this battle, one of them must fall. Every bit of assurance was very important. You have some ability, but you are too naive if you think that you can contend against us with just this. Lu Wenxing coldly snorted. A ball of Nirvana fire suddenly appeared in his hands. No, this was not Nirvana fire, but an exotic flame. Fire cloud flame? Yi Xian was shocked. Due to the suppression of the realm, his insightful eye could not see through the Yin Yang ancestor's body. This fire cloud flame was different from the one he obtained from the sect leader of the Burning Cloud sect. This fire cloud flame was no longer an exotic flame, but a fire cloud flame that had been refined into Nirvana fire. This meant that the Yin Yang ancestor's attack would be very powerful. The Yin Yang ancestor used the fire cloud flame to set up a flame barrier. The golden flame dragon instantly collapsed when it hit the barrier. Not only that, but even Wei Zhentian could not pierce through the fire cloud flame barrier. It didn't burn to ashes? This weapon is not bad. Lu Wenxing coldly sneered, slightly surprised. The fire cloud flame could burn a 5th level divine artifact into ashes, but Wei Zhentian did not. This was inevitable because Wei Zhentian had the immortal phoenix bloodline now, so his resistance to fire was extremely high. How could an exotic flame burn him? However, the Yin Yang ancestor did not take it seriously, and the latter allowed it to attack. I will give you one more chance. As long as you obey me, I will not kill him. I can even train him like how I train you, Lu Wenxing said. Chapter 1392. Of course, Yi Xian's aptitude was also very good. It was very rare for a 7th level Nirvana realm martial artist to be able to display a 9th level Nirvana realm martial artist's combat strength. Even in the entire Lu family, he was rare. Unfortunately, he did not know how many trump cards Yi Xian had. Do you think you're the only one with the fire cloud flame? Yi Xian's lips curled up slightly. He opened his left hand, and another orange cloud flame appeared. It was the fire cloud flame. What? Lu Wenxing and Lu Wanyue were shocked. Why did Yi Xian also have the 88th ranked exceptional flame, the fire cloud flame? They knew that the Burning Cloud sect had a fire cloud flame. After all, the sect leader of the Burning Cloud sect was related to the Lu family. That fire cloud flame was given by the Lu family. However, why did Yi Xian also have it? They could accurately sense that this fire cloud flame had been refined. It was Nirvana fire, not an exceptional flame. They did not know that Yi Xian had merged with many exceptional flames before this. The exceptional flame ranking was based on a certain ranking. If one refined an exceptional flame that was ranked high, then the exceptional flames that were refined before would be overshadowed. Therefore, the effects of the exceptional flames like the eternal earth core fire and the ice ceiling flame were overshadowed by the fire cloud flame. You two old monsters, try this move again. At this moment, Yi Xian suddenly attacked. Killing intent explosion. Peerless flame dragon slash. Last time, the peerless flame dragon slash only used his true chi and all creation's force. This time, he added the fire cloud flame. In addition, there was the addition of the Immortal Phoenix Bloodline's flame power. This attack was not weak. If it hit a peak 9th level Nirvana Realm martial artist, it would be enough to kill him. However, this was nothing to the Yin Yang ancestor, who was in the Longevity Realm. Rumble. The Golden Flame Dragon still hit the Fire Cloud Flame barrier of the Yin Yang ancestor. With a rumble, the Golden Flame Dragon and the Fire Cloud Flame barrier disappeared together. Yi Xian broke the Yin Yang ancestor's defense. Even the Yin Yang ancestor was shocked by this scene. Is this really the offensive strength of a martial artist at the 7th level of the Rebirth Realm? This brat. Lu Wenxing and Lu Wenyue were extremely shocked as they whispered in their minds. In less than 3 years, Yi Xian had broken through to the 7th level of the Nirvana Realm from the 2nd Tribulation Supreme Realm. This was truly inconceivable. From the 2nd Tribulation Supreme Realm to the 9th Tribulation Supreme Realm, after the Supreme Realm came the 3 minor disasters of the Supreme Realm, followed by the Manifestation Realm, Nether Passage Realm, Fulfillment Realm, Fragmentation Realm, and finally the Nirvana Realm. Song Sui-jing and Judge Song were carefully nurtured by him, a Longevity Realm expert, yet they were only at the 7th level of Nirvana Realm. Yi Xian had roamed the world on his own, but he had actually managed to reach this level in just 3 years. This was impossible. There must be a secret on this kid. Lu Wenxing and Lu Wenyue thought to themselves. Because of this, they no longer wanted to kill Yi Xian. They were prepared to capture Yi Xian and dig out the secret behind Yi Xian's rapid breakthrough. Since this brat doesn't understand, then let's do it. Lu Wenxing said inwardly. Okay, big brother. Lu Wenyue replied. In the next moment, their figures flashed and turned into streams of light that swept toward Yi Xian. Next, they were going to use their full strength. The time has come. Come on. Yi Xian's eyes widened when he saw this. Wei Zhentian, who was at the 9th level of Nirvana Realm, instantly turned into thousands of blood swords and attacked the Yin Yang patriarchs. Not only that, but Luo Luo also appeared at this moment. Eye of Enchantment. Bewitching Technique. A pink eyeball appeared and stared at the Yin Yang patriarchs. Luo Luo was at the 8th level of Nirvana Realm, which was only 2 levels lower than the Yin Yang patriarchs. After using the Eye of Enchantment, she could use the bewitching technique to affect the Yin Yang patriarchs. In addition, there was also Yi Xian's soul attack. What? The Yin Yang patriarchs, who were charging down, were horrified. How could they, who were at the Longevity Realm, be affected by an illusion? Moreover, it was an illusion that could cause them to break their precepts. No, wake up immediately. Lu Wenxing's eyes widened. In the blink of an eye, he broke the illusion of the bewitching technique. However, Lu Wenyue, whose soul power was weaker, was still immersed in the illusion. This brat, how dare he think of such a thing? Dai! Lu Wenxing was furious. Fortunately, the two of them shared the same body. Although Lu Wenyue was in the illusion, Lu Wenxing was not. The bewitching technique was specially used to restrain the Yin Yang patriarchs. Just now, Lu Wenxing had wanted to capture Yi Xian. However, in order to protect himself, he could only kill Luo Luo, who had appeared out of nowhere. Dai! Lu Wenxing roared in his heart. His right hand struck out with a flaming palm. This palm was the longevity superpower. Coupled with the effect of the fire cloud flame, even an elite at the 1st level of Longevity Realm would die if they were not careful, let alone Luo Luo, who was only at the 8th level of Nirvana Realm. However, just as the palm was about to hit Luo Luo, she suddenly disappeared into thin air. Bang! Although the flaming palm did not hit Luo Luo, it destroyed the Eye of Enchantment. At the same time, Lu Wenxing felt a chill on his back. Assassination Eye. Killing Intent Explosion. Unparalleled Flaming Dragon Slash. This time, Yi Xian was serious. The Assassination Eye had been upgraded once. After using it, the power of the first attack would increase by 30%. Coupled with the unparalleled Flaming Dragon Slash, even the Yin Yang Patriarch would not be able to block it. Although the Yin Yang Patriarch was an elite of the Longevity Realm, he did not know how Yi Xian had gotten behind him. However, he did not have time to think about it because the giant golden flaming dragon had swallowed him up. The unparalleled Flaming Dragon Slash was Mo Xue's ultimate move. Originally, Yi Xian would not have been able to comprehend it so quickly. This time, with the help of Luo Luo, he was able to advance in advance. Yi Xian used 1/5 of his qi to use the unparalleled Flaming Dragon Slash. The ordinary unparalleled Flaming Dragon Slash only used 1/20th of its qi. The consumption of qi was 4 times that of the unparalleled Flaming Dragon Slash, but its power was probably more than 4 times. Whoosh! Whoosh! The Yin-Yang Patriarch was swallowed up by the golden flaming dragon. No, he was not swallowed up. Instead, he was cleverly stuck in the golden flaming dragon's bloody mouth and kept retreating. The speed of an longevity realm elite is indeed fast. Wei Zhentian! Yi Xian quickly shouted in his mind. Wei Zhentian had already gotten behind the Yin-Yang Patriarch, and thousands of blood swords swept out like a storm. Kid, don't underestimate me. Lu Wenxing shouted angrily. Then, he suddenly burst out with a strong burst of qi, and actually shook off the unparalleled Flaming Dragon Slash and Sword Storm. This is... Yi Xian's eyes flashed. An longevity realm elite had a lifespan of at least 1,000 years, but some people had very short lifespans. Why? Because when one reached the longevity realm, they could freely burn their lifespan to fight. Just now, Lu Wenxing had burned his limited lifespan to increase the strength of his qi. However, in order to block this move, he had consumed 10 years of his lifespan. Chapter 1393. Yi Xian had long heard of the power of immortal-level powerhouses. People of this level were very difficult to kill because all of them could burn their lifespan to fight. If it was a battle of life and death, both sides would have to burn their lifespan. As time passed, their lifespan would continue to decrease. Even if the winner won, his lifespan would be greatly reduced. Therefore, immortal-level powerhouses would have a slightly better temper. They would try to restrain themselves because once they fought, both sides would suffer. There were almost no immortal-level powerhouses who could live to the end of their lifespan. When they reached the immortal level, they would more or less burn their lifespan to fight. This was also the reason why Yi Xian was fully prepared. Let's see if you have more lifespan or I have more vital energy. Yi Xian's eyes flickered as he attacked again. Killing Intent Explosion. Matchless Flame Dragon Slash. Another huge golden flame dragon swept out. Scatter. Lu Wenxing did not have time to feel sorry for his lifespan and punched again. Just now, he was ambushed and could not react in time, so he burned his lifespan to resist. This time, he only used his full strength. Rumble. In an instant, the golden flame dragon was blasted apart. However, at this moment, Luo appeared again and used the bewitching art on Lu Wenxing. In addition, Yi Xian was also constantly using the Eye of the Soul and the bewitching art. Under continuous attacks, Lu Wenyue finally had some problems. Oh no, my body is beginning to reject it. It will disintegrate in a while. Lu Wenxing's expression changed greatly. He did not expect that he would be played like this by a few Nirvana realm brats. This was really unbelievable. At this moment, he scanned with his spiritual sense and suddenly thought of a way. Kidnap song Sui Jing or adjudicator song. Humph. Yi Xian noticed the look in his eyes and slashed out again. Killing Intent Explosion. Matchless Flame Dragon Slash. Before Patriarch Yin-Yang could turn around, the golden flame dragon had already attacked. He had to raise his hand to defend. Rumble. The golden flame dragon was defeated, but at the moment when the golden flame dragon dissipated, a golden slash suddenly struck out. Bang! The flame barrier on Patriarch Yin-Yang's body suddenly collapsed. On the other side, the blade storm attacked again. You annoying fellow, turn into ashes for me. Patriarch Yin-Yang shouted and slapped the sword group again. This time, he burned his lifespan, which was extremely powerful. However, just as the giant flaming palm smashed onto the heaven-shaking sword, Yi Xian's figure suddenly flashed and once again circled behind ancestor Yin-Yang. This time, Yi Xian drew his bow with both hands. Killing Intent Explosion. Matchless Flame Dragon Slash. Flame Cloud Palm. Hearing the howling wind behind him, old ancestor Yin-Yang's face darkened. This time, he couldn't escape. Rumble. Patriarch Yin-Yang was sent flying. He could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. His face was pale. Actually, Yi Xian could have suppressed ancestor Yin-Yang from the very beginning and not given him any chance to attack. Why? Song Sui Jing and adjudicator Song had been kidnapped for nearly 3 years. Although they had been rescued, what about the interest for the past 3 years? Killing Patriarch Yin Yang like this would be letting him off too easily. Therefore, Yi Xian wanted to see them disintegrate. Patriarch Yin Yang had been together for more than 800 years and had never disintegrated. If they were disintegrated by Yi Xian, would they collapse? Charm. Bewitching Heart Technique. On the other side, Luo Luo continued her soul attack. First, she used Charm to weaken the opponent's soul. Then, she used Bewitching Heart Technique to trap Lu Wanyue in an illusion. If she had attacked, Patriarch Yin Yang would have been dead. Lu Wenxing, who was sent flying, finally understood Yi Xian's plan. Sensing his sister's condition, he finally panicked. "No, you can't do this," Lu Wenxing exclaimed. "You can kidnap my wife on my wedding day. Why can't I do the same?" Yi Xian sneered and attacked again. Killing Intent Explosion. Matchless Flame Dragon Slash. Fire Cloud Palm. Patriarch Yin Yang could not dodge and was forced to burn his lifespan to block the attack. He had already burned decades of his lifespan. He estimated that he only had about 200 years left. Now, he only had a little more than 100 years left. He would die in a while. However, it was not certain if he could hold on until his lifespan ran out. While Patriarch Yin Yang was at a disadvantage, Yi Xian immediately followed up with another attack. Patriarch Yin Yang was completely helpless. Due to the Bewitching Heart Technique, Patriarch Yin Yang's body had also undergone some changes. His vital energy flow had slowed by at least 30%, and he was already showing signs of disintegration. "No, no!" Lu Wenxing shouted angrily. However, Lu Wanyue was still trapped in the illusion. After the Yin and Yang merged, the merged person's soul strength would be greatly weakened and added to the main body. Lu Wanyue had not woken up ever since she fell into the illusion. At this time, she was already with Lu Wenxing in the illusion. "No, sister, stop!" Lu Wenxing shouted in his heart. However, Lu Wanyue was still trapped in the illusion and could not extricate herself. At this time, a figure had grown out of Lu Wenxing's back. It was Lu Wanyue, who was about to split. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yi Xian immediately increased his attacks. He did not want to kill Patriarch Yin Yang, but he wanted to see the look of despair on Patriarch Yin Yang's face. Patriarch Yin Yang's lifespan was also decreasing. Soon, his lifespan had decreased to less than 100 years. At this time, Yi Xian suddenly used the Eye of Assassination again and appeared behind Patriarch Yin Yang. Then, he threw a punch. Bam! Patriarch Yin Yang was sent flying again. However, this time, his clothes suddenly tore apart as he was sent flying. Disintegration. "Sui Jing Luo Luo, close your eyes and don't look," Yi Xian hurriedly reminded them. Even if he did not say that, the two ladies would not want to look. Fortunately, only Patriarch Yin Yang's clothes tore apart. It was Lu Wanyue who was exposed, not Lu Wenxing. When a Yin and Yang person disintegrated, their cultivation level would drop. At this time, Lu Wenxing and Lu Wanyue had already fallen to the 9th level of the Nirvana stage. If Yi Xian wanted to kill them now, it would be a piece of cake. "This is impossible. This is impossible." Lu Wenxing roared at the sky. After being fused for more than 800 years, they had actually disintegrated today. This was too much for him to bear. On the other side, Lu Wanyue was limp on the ground. Although she had disintegrated, she was still in the illusion. Her hands were roaming around her body, and she would occasionally make a sound. Seeing this, Yi Xian's eyes flashed. The two in front of him were old monsters who had lived for hundreds of years. Yi Xian naturally had no interest in their bodies. Chapter 1394. Yin Yang Patriarch, you deserve this. Yi Xian slowly walked over. "You will die a horrible death." Lu Wenxing turned his head angrily and said through gritted teeth. "I don't know how I will die, but I know that you will die soon." After Yi Xian finished speaking, his eyes flickered twice. Ding! Control successful. Ding! Control successful. 2 system notifications rang out. Lu Wenxing and Lu Wanyue, whose soul strength had greatly decreased, were directly controlled by Yi Xian. "Greetings, Master." Then, Lu Wanyue also woke up. Then, she and Lu Wenxing knelt down and kowtowed respectfully. It was hard to imagine that the two arrogant people who wanted Yi Xian to surrender were now kneeling on the ground and kowtowing to Yi Xian. This change was too fast for ordinary people to accept. Haha, these two old monsters deserve this. Songju walked over with large strides. He knew that the two of them were already under Yi Xian's control. He immediately grabbed Lu Wenxing's collar and slapped him a few times. Lu Wenxing's face was red and his head was buzzing. He was also venting his anger from the past 2 years. After all, on Yi Xian's wedding day, he was also marrying a wife. They were together. Sui Jing, do you want to? Yi Xian suddenly turned his head and asked. No need. It's enough to see you again. Song Sui Jing shook his head and glanced at the naked Lu Wenyue in disgust. Okay. Yi Xian nodded slightly. His eyes flashed as he took the interspatial ring from Lu Wenxing's hand. At the same time, he asked a few questions. This battle was already over. Old ancestor Yin Yang would definitely die in the end, but he was still of some use to them. For example, did he know about the 9 nether wind flame? Was it true that the Lu family had a cross-realm teleportation array to the Penglai Divine Land? In addition, there was one thing that Yi Xian was more interested in. Soul-searching divine ability. Yi Xian asked the Yin Yang Patriarch to write down this divine ability. Then he copied it. Ding. Soul-searching divine ability successfully copied. Ding. Soul-searching divine ability can be perfectly combined with Eye of the Soul. Do you want to proceed? This system notification was beyond Yi Xian's expectations. Yes. He immediately answered in his mind. Ding. Fusion. Ding. Host has learned Eye of the Divine ability. Yi Xian also did not expect that. He immediately used his Eye of the Soul on Lu Wenxing. Furthermore, the immortal divine phoenix bloodline wouldn't be able to quickly recover its eye power. Yi Xian didn't even need a few seconds before he felt his eyes ache. However, in those few seconds he found something interesting. He found a treasure map in the Yin Yang Patriarch's interspatial ring. Yi Xian murmured. He turned his head and asked, "Where did this come from?" "I obtained it by chance when I was in my 50s. After hundreds of years of searching, I can only find one." Lu Wenxing replied. "Forget it." Yi Xian ignored him and threw it into the devouring space. The Yin Yang Patriarch had been searching for this heavenly treasure map for hundreds of years, but he could not find any clues. However, this treasure map was called the Heavenly Treasure Map. It was beyond Yi Xian's expectations. If it was not an exaggeration, then it was a real treasure. Letting them die like this will not relieve my hatred. Sui Jing. Luo, stay away. At this moment, Yi Xian suddenly said. Hearing this, Song Sui Jing and Luo looked at each other. It seemed that Yi Xian was going to do something that was not suitable for children. The two girls obediently left, followed by Wei Zhentian. As for Judge Song, he wanted to see what Yi Xian was going to do. "Brother-in-law, what are you going to do?" Judge Song curiously asked. The corner of Yi Xian's mouth revealed an evil smile, but he didn't answer this question. His eyes flickered twice. Bewitching heart art. Bewitching heart art. Lu Wenxing and Lu Wenyue, who were only at the 9th level of Nirvana realm, suddenly fell into an illusion. Judge Song already knew what was going to happen next. Fuck, brother-in-law, your taste is really heavy. They are more than 1,600 years old. Judge Song couldn't help but ridicule. However, before his voice fell, Yi Xian turned around and left step by step. As for Judge Song, after glancing at Yi Xian, he also decided to stay and watch. Who was the one with a heavy taste? However, Lu Wenxing and Lu Wenyue had trapped Judge Song and Song Sui Jing for nearly 3 years. Every day, in addition to cultivation, they were also instilled with thoughts. If not for the fact that he couldn't beat them, Judge Song would have chopped them down with his axe. Now, there was a good opportunity for revenge. How could he let it go? A few seconds later, Lu Wenxing and Lu Wenyue couldn't stand it anymore and began some kind of inappropriate activity. Pa! 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 A crisp sound echoed. Judge Song shrunk his neck and turned around to follow Yi Xian. However, after 5 seconds. Fuck. It's over in 5 seconds? Judge Song, who had just turned around and walked a few steps, trembled. How fast was that? 5 seconds. It was only 5 seconds. However, it was also true that the two siblings had been together for 800 years. Not to mention doing it, once the mind had that kind of thought, there would be a crisis of disintegration, so it was normal. At this time, Yi Xian, who had walked a dozen steps, also heard the movement. After his eyes flickered twice, he gave some kind of order to the two. Kacha! Kacha! Two crisp sounds echoed. Lu Wenxing and Lu Wenyue's necks were twisted. Moreover, they knew each other's life. Ding! The killing intent of the host has increased. Ding! The killing intent of the host has increased. The two lines of system prompt sounded, indicating that Lu Wenxing and Lu Wenyue had fallen. Yi Xian threw out a nirvana fire without turning his head. Huff, huff, huff. The Yin-Yang Old Ancestor's corpse began to burn and soon turned into ashes. Now that the Yin-Yang Old Ancestor's matter had been resolved, Yi Xian and the other two could be considered as avenging. However, Yi Xian was still stuck at the 7th level of the Nirvana realm. Therefore, he had to find the mysterious flame to break through to the 8th level of the Nirvana realm, which was the 9 Nether Wind Flame. Fortunately, the Yin-Yang Old Ancestor revealed that the Lu family had the 9 Nether Wind Flame. However, the Lu family had more than one Immortality Realm powerhouse. This was a huge family with thousands of years of inheritance, so Yi Xian still needed to plan. Young master, what should we do now? Return to the Penglai Divine Land? Luo Luo asked. Yes, it just so happens that the Lu family has the 9 Netherwind Flame. I must get it. Then, we will go through the Lu family's teleportation array and return to the Penglai Divine Land. Yi Xian nodded. Chapter 1395. Now that the Yin-Yang ancestor is dead, we can finally go home. Adjudicator Song grinned. He was also kidnapped on his wedding day, so he was going to hold a new wedding when he returned. All right, you guys stay here first. I'll hurry on my way. Yi Xian nodded. Song Suijing and Adjudicator Song were both at the 7th level of Nirvana Realm, but they would soon break through to the 8th level of Nirvana Realm. Old Tree was also about to break through to the 8th level of Nirvana Realm. With the addition of Wei Zhentian, who was at the 9th level of Nirvana Realm, they wouldn't be in danger as long as no Longevity Realm experts came. The four of them casually found a place to stay, and then Yi Xian began his journey. As for Luo Luo, she stayed in the planting space to cultivate. With the cultivation resources of the Yin-Yang ancestor, she estimated that she would be able to break through to the 9th level of Nirvana Realm in 3 days at most. However, just as Yi Xian was rushing to the Lu family, something happened in the Lu family. Ancestor, not good. An expert of the Lu family hurriedly rushed to a mansion in the depths of the Lu family. What's the matter? Why are you in such a hurry? The gate of the courtyard was opened, but no one came out. Only an old voice was heard. Lu Wenxing and Lu Wenyue's life jade tokens have shattered. The expert of the Lu family reported truthfully. What? The old voice suddenly shook, and in the next moment, a figure rushed out of the mansion and disappeared in the blink of an eye. An Longevity Realm expert could condense a life jade token. If the life jade token shattered, it meant that the person was dead. Now that Lu Wenxing and Lu Wenyue's life jade tokens had shattered, it meant that they had fallen. After the ancestor of the Lu family rushed out, he rushed to the ancestral hall of the Lu family. After taking a closer look, he found that Lu Wenxing and Lu Wenyue's life jade tokens had shattered. Xing Eryu, The ancestor of the Lu family was an old woman named Lu Bingzhen. Lu Wenxing and Lu Wenyue, whose jade plates of life had shattered, were her son and daughter. Lu Wenxing and Lu Wenyue cultivated as one and were hated by the Lu family, so the two of them left the Lu family. Even so, they were still the children of the ancestor of the Lu family, so the jade tablet of life was still kept in the ancestral hall. There were a total of 6 life jade tokens in the Lu family's ancestral hall. Lu Wenxing and Lu Wenyue were 2 of them. Excluding Lu Bingzhen, the Lu family had 3 immortal level powerhouses. Now that 2 immortal levels were dead, it was a huge blow to the Lu family. The Yin-Yang Sacred Hall was destroyed first. Xing and Yu also died after asking me to investigate this matter. It seems that they provoked a powerful enemy. As Lu Bingzhen thought to herself, her figure flashed and she arrived in front of a mansion. Grandma, why are you here? A middle-aged man walked out of the mansion in surprise and looked at Lu Bingzhen. Your uncle and aunt are dead, Lu Bingzhen said with a gloomy expression. Dead? The middle-aged man was shocked. Lu Bingzhen had 3 children in total. Her eldest son, Lu Wenyang, her second son, Lu Wenxing, and her third daughter, Lu Wenyue. Her eldest son, Lu Wenyang, was adopted by Lu Bingzhen and her husband in the early years. He was not her biological son. This middle-aged man was Lu Wenyang's son, Lulin. He was also an ancestor of the Lu family and an immortal level LV1. Lu Wenxing and Lu Wenyue were his uncle and aunt. That's right. Their life jade tokens have been shattered. I want you to investigate, said Lu Bingzhen. The Yin Yang Sacred Hall was just destroyed, and my uncle and aunt died one after another. Lulin thought for a moment and nodded. All right, I'll go now. Be careful. The Lu family can't afford to lose any more, reminded Lu Bingzhen. Yes, Grandma. After replying, Lulin turned into a ray of light and shot out of the Lu family. The Lu family was actually not related to Lu Bingzhen by blood because she had adopted Lu Wenyang. However, she had built the Lu family single-handedly. She had been in charge of the Lu family for 1,000 years. Now that her time was almost up, if the Lu family lost any more immortal-level experts, they would definitely go downhill in the future. They might even be wiped out by the surrounding forces. At this moment, Yi Xian was rushing to the Lu family. He first broke through the void and arrived at the valley, then headed north. At his speed, it would take him about 3 days to reach the Lu family. In 3 days, Lua would probably break through to the 9th level of Nirvana. At that time, he would have the confidence to go against the entire Lu family. However, after a day's journey, a powerful aura suddenly swept into his range of perception. Whoosh! The figure stopped in front of Yi Xian and asked in a questioning tone, "Where did you come from?" Yi Xian glanced at him and said, "Senior, is there a problem?" Immortal-level experts could condense life jade tokens. Previously, Lu Wenxing had said that their life jade tokens were in the Lu family. There were not many forces with immortal-level experts here. Now that an immortal-level expert had appeared, it was very likely that the Lu family had sent him to investigate. "Let me ask you, where did you come from?" Lulin opened his eyes wide. He could see that Yi Xian was only at the 7th level of Nirvana. In his eyes, this level of cultivation was like an ant, so he disdained to make a move on him. "You are from the Lu family, right?" At this moment, Yi Xian suddenly narrowed his eyes. Ha! When he heard this, Lulin trembled. He did not expect Yi Xian to be able to guess his identity so quickly. "I killed Lu Wenxing and Lu Wenyue." Just as Lulin was astonished, Yi Xian told him the truth. This sentence frightened Lulin. He was here to investigate the deaths of Lu Wenxing and Lu Wenyue, but now suddenly, a 7th-level Nirvana brat told him that he had killed an immortal-level expert. Was this not a dream? What a joke! You think you can kill an immortal-level expert? Lulin snorted coldly. In terms of strength, the Yin Yang Patriarch was stronger than him, but Yi Xian was only at the 7th level of Nirvana realm. The difference in strength was like heaven and earth. How could he have killed him? However, Yi Xian actually knew the names of Lu Wenxing and Lu Wenyue, and even knew that they were dead. It seemed like he knew something. "I killed them. Believe it or not. If there's nothing else, I'll leave first." After Yi Xian finished speaking, he went around Lulin and swept into the distance. "How dare you? Did I say you could leave?" Lulin shouted in a low voice. He raised his hand and prepared to capture Yi Xian. "Then you're courting death." Yi Xian suddenly turned around and raised his sword. Killing intent explosion. Peerless Flaming Dragon Slash. This golden flaming dragon collided with Lulin's true energy giant palm, but surprisingly, Lulin's attack was actually dispersed. This scene fell into Lulin's eyes, which made Lulin very surprised. Chapter 1396. In Lulin's eyes, even a martial artist at the peak of Nirvana realm was just an ant. Breaking through a major realm was like reaching the heavens in a single step. The difference was huge. Not to mention, Yi Xian was only at the 7th stage of Nirvana realm. There was a difference of 3 realms. This kid is strange. He might know what happened. Lulin's eyes lit up and attacked again. Yi Xian raised his hand to counterattack, but his figure retreated quickly, making his opponent think that he was escaping. "Haha, kid, aren't you very arrogant? You think you can escape from me?" Lulin laughed and attacked with both hands. Yi Xian was helpless. An immortal-level powerhouse was attacking him, but he felt superior. He really didn't know where that came from. This person is slightly weaker than the Yin Yang Patriarch. I'm not his match in a one-on-one battle. Yi Xian thought to himself and informed Luo Luo, who was cultivating in the planting space. Luo Luo immediately stopped cultivating and appeared on Lulin's left. 9 Reincarnation Flash. Luo Luo attacked directly after she appeared. What? Lulin didn't understand the situation. There were only the two of them here. Why was there a fox girl here? Moreover, she was so fast. Get lost. Lulin attacked with his palm, but Luo Luo nimbly dodged it. 9 Reincarnation Flash. Second Flash. 9 Reincarnation Flash. Third Flash. In the blink of an eye, Luo Luo was in front of Lulin. 9 Reincarnation Flash. Fourth Flash. Whoosh. Lulin's face darkened and his heart trembled. So fast. The fourth flash of the 9 Reincarnation Flash was no slower than an immortal-level powerhouse. Lulin was shocked and raised his hand to block. Swish. 2 of Lulin's fingers were cut off. The pain transmitted to his brain proved that this wasn't a dream. But at this moment, Yi Xian suddenly used his ultimate move. Burning Sky Pill. Killing Intent Explosion. Unparalleled True Flame Dragon Slash. A huge golden flame dragon rushed out like a prehistoric giant beast and instantly engulfed Lulin. Lulin felt that his life was in danger for the first time in the past 100 years. It was also the first time since he had broken through to immortal level. The combination of a 7th-level Rebirth Realm martial artist and an 8th-level Rebirth Realm martial artist had actually forced him to burn his lifespan to block their attacks, and this caused him to be embarrassed. Scram. Lulin was enraged. He gathered his chi and blasted the golden flame dragon apart, along with the Eye of Destruction that was hidden within. But at this moment, 9 Reincarnation Flash. Fifth Flash. Hiss. Luo Luo sped up again, her figure flashing past Lulin. With a crisp sound, Lulin's head was separated from her body. The Zhenqi in her body instantly lost control and was incinerated by the golden flame dragon. Ding. Host's killing intent has increased. A system notification was heard. Another immortal-level powerhouse had died. Good coordination. Yi Xian said to Luo Luo with a smile. This immortal phoenix bloodline is really amazing. My Zhenqi recovered instantly. Luo Luo couldn't help but praise. The immortal phoenix bloodline had extremely strong recovery and detoxification abilities. In addition, it also increased fire attacks and fire resistance. It was indeed very good. Go back and cultivate first. I will send the items in. Yi Xian said to her. Okay. Luo Luo nodded in response. Then, she was sent into the planting space by Yi Xian and continued to cultivate. Then, Yi Xian quickly rushed over and kept Lulin's Qian Kuan ring. Lulin had actually refined a type of mystical flame, but because he underestimated Yi Xian, he was killed by Luo Luo. He didn't even have the chance to use 30% of his combat strength and died without knowing why. After Yi Xian obtained Lulin's Qian Kuan ring, he sent the cultivation resources into the planting space for Luo Luo. After the death of the Yin-Yang Patriarch, Wei Zhentian was already at the peak of Nirvana stage level 9. However, because Yi Xian's level didn't increase, he was also stuck at this level. Therefore, these ores and cultivation resources that he didn't need were accumulated. There's actually an immortal-level heaven-reaching beast's corpse. When I return to the old tree, it should be able to break through to Nirvana stage level 9. Yi Xian raised his eyebrows. The old tree usually absorbed his blood to break through. Of course, it could also devour corpses. The higher the level, the better. The immortal-level heaven-reaching beast's corpse was naturally not as good as Yi Xian's blood. Unfortunately, the immortal-level heaven-reaching beast's soul was gone. The Lu family has a total of 6 immortal-level patriarchs. Besides Lu Wenxing and Lu Wenyue, another one died, so there are only 3 left. Among these 3, one of them is at immortal level 2. She's Lu Wenyue and Lu Wenxing's mother. Yi Xian thought to himself. Previously, the Yin-Yang Patriarch had revealed all the secrets of the Lu family, not leaving out a single one. In addition to some things in the Yin and Yang ring, Yi Xian knew that the one he just killed was called Lulin. He was the son of Lu Wenxing and Lu Wenyue's brother, which meant that he was their nephew. As for the remaining 2 immortal-level Lu family patriarchs, one was called Lu Wenyang and the other was called Lu Feng. Lu Wenyang was Lulin's father and Yi Xian's target this time. This was because the key to Yi Xian's breakthrough, the 9 Serenities wind flame, was in his hands. As for Lu Feng, he was the top genius of the Lu family. He only spent 200 years to break through to the immortal level. After reaching the nirvana stage, each stage would increase one's lifespan by a lot. Therefore, many people delayed giving birth to children to focus on cultivation. Some people only gave birth when they were 100 years old, while others only gave birth when they were a few hundred years old. This way, they would not be distracted. The Lu family had been passed down for thousands of years. If they were like ordinary people who had a generation in their 20s, then the population would be too terrifying. Moreover, it was not easy to manage as the cultivation resources were too scattered. It was better to centralize them. Therefore, the Lu family's population was maintained at around 1,000 people. These 1,000 people were all elites. If it was before, as long as Yi Xian plundered the Lu family, he would probably be able to break through to the 9th level of the nirvana stage. Unfortunately, he accepted a special leveling mission and couldn't obtain the designated items. No matter how many heavenly and earthly treasures he had, it was useless. After killing Lulin, Yi Xian traveled for 2 days and finally arrived at the Lu family. However, he did not enter. Instead, he waited outside the Lu family because Luoluo had not broken through yet. Not to mention the patriarch Lu Bingzhen, who was at LV2, he could not deal with the 2 immortal level patriarchs. Therefore, it was better to wait for Luoluo to break through first, just in case. Very quickly. 2 hours later. Ding! Luoluo has broken through. She is now at Nirvana Stage 9. The sound of the system notification finally rang out. Luoluo had broken through to Nirvana Stage 9. Now, she was not afraid of anyone in the Lu family. Chapter 1397. Alright, let's begin. After hearing the system notification, Yi Xian finally strode towards the Lu family. Sir, is something the matter? Before he could approach the Lu family, he was stopped by a guard. The Lu family was much more powerful than the Yinyang Temple. Just one of the guards was at Nirvana Stage Level 7. However, before the guard could finish his sentence, he was controlled by Yi Xian's Eye of Soul. Bring me to Lu Wanyang, Yi Xian ordered the guard through the air. Master, I don't have the authority. The guard walked to Yi Xian and said softly. Then bring me to the one with the authority. Yi Xian said. There were only 3 immortal level powerhouses in the Lu family. They were Lu Bingzhen, Lu Wanyang, and Lu Feng, who were at Nirvana Stage Level 2. Other than them, there were no other immortal level powerhouses. Therefore, Yi Xian's Eye of Soul could control everyone except the 3 of them. The guard nodded and brought Yi Xian into the Lu family. Yi Xian's target this time was Lu Wanyang. As long as he could obtain the 9 nether wind flames, he would be able to break through to Nirvana Stage Level 8. By then, he would be able to kill an immortal level powerhouse alone. Soon, the guard brought Yi Xian to a person. It was a butler of the Lu family. Eye of Soul. Ding. Control successful. The butler, who was at Nirvana Stage Level 9, was immediately controlled by Yi Xian. Then, Yi Xian gave him another order. Unexpectedly, the butler didn't have the authority to contact Lu Wanyang, so he brought Yi Xian to look for him again. This time, he brought Yi Xian to look for Lu Wanyang's grandson. Yi Xian had no choice but to control Lu Wanyang's grandson. Finally, he could look for Lu Wanyang. With his powerful eye of perception, Yi Xian could sense that he was approaching an immortal level powerhouse. Grandpa, are you there? Lu Wanyang's grandson shouted from outside the mansion. Not just anyone could enter this area. The number of people who could enter could be counted on one hand. Clang! As his voice faded, the door to the courtyard opened, and a deep voice sounded from within. What is it? Sun Tzu replied. A friend of mine obtained news of the 9 Serenities wind flame. Oh! When Lu Wanyang heard this, he opened his eyes and dashed out. 9 nether wind flame? Lu Wanyang came outside and looked at his grandson and Yi Xian, who was at the 7th level of the Nirvana stage. But in the next moment, he suddenly realized that there was another figure around him. Luoluo. Eye of Charm. It was too easy for Luoluo, who was at the 9th level of the Nirvana realm, to use the Eyes of Charm to control someone who was 1 level higher than her. In the blink of an eye, Lu Wanyang was subdued. He had obtained the 9 Serenities wind flame. Yi Xian immediately rushed over and took off his interspatial ring. However, what made Yi Xian feel helpless was that there was no 9 Serenities wind flame inside. Where did the 9 Serenities wind flame go? Yi Xian asked in surprise. I couldn't refine the 9 Serenities wind flame after decades, so I gave it to Lu Feng. Lu Wenyang replied. Lu Feng. He was the current #1 genius of the Lu family. He had broken through to the immortality stage after cultivating for less than 200 years. Yi Xian trembled when he heard this. He asked, when did you give it to him? Half a year ago. Lu Wenyang replied. Many things could happen in half a year. If the 9 Serenities wind flame was refined, it would be a tragedy. Bring me to him immediately. Yi Xian shouted in a low voice. But at this moment, a figure suddenly appeared in the sky. Who dares to be so presumptuous in the Lu family? An old voice was heard. Yi Xian turned his head and focused his eyes. A figure was quickly approaching from outside his eye of perception. That speed. She's at LV2 of the immortality stage. She should be the ancestor of the Lu family, Lu Bingzhen. Yi Xian's eyes widened. He reckoned that Lu Bingzhen must have sensed the aura of Luolua's eye of enchantment when she used it. If that was the case, there was no need to hide anymore. Luoluo had broken through to LV9 of the Nirvana stage and was controlling Lu Wenyang, who was at the immortality stage. So what if she was at LV2 of the immortality stage? Young master, I'll stop him. Luoluo suddenly flew into the sky. All right, be careful. Yi Xian nodded and said to Lu Wenyang, bring me to Lu Feng. Yes. Lu Wenyang nodded respectfully. Fortunately, Lu Feng was cultivating in the Lu family. Otherwise they would have to look for him. In the distance, Lu Bingzhen was extremely astonished when she saw Lu Wenyang being brought away by Yi Xian. It was unbelievable that a LV7 Nirvana stage and a LV9 Nirvana stage could control an immortality stage. Little girl, get out of my way. Lu Bingzhen was furious. She slapped Luoluo. Hundredfold Fox Demon Clone, purifying demonic lotus flame. Luoluo transformed into hundreds of clones and formed a flaming lotus. Then she smashed it down. Boom! A shockwave swept across the area. Fortunately, the people living nearby were not weak. Even so, they vomited blood from the shockwave. A LV9 Nirvana stage martial artist actually had the strength to contend with a LV2 of the immortality stage. It was terrifying. In the distance, Lu Feng, who was refining the 9 nether wind flame in his residence, heard Lu Bingzhen's roar and went out to check. He happened to see Lu Wenyang and Yi Xian rushing towards him. Ancestor, what happened? Lu Feng asked in surprise. Everyone in the Lu family, except for Lu Bingzhen, Lu Wenxing, and Lu Wenyue, were Lu Wenyang's children. Therefore, it was normal for Lu Feng to address Lu Wenyang as ancestor. Lu Feng, give me the 9 nether wind flame now. Lu Wenyang said anxiously. The 9 nether wind flame was originally given to Lu Feng by Lu Wenyang. When Lu Feng saw Lu Wenyang's reaction, he took out the 9 nether wind flame from his interspatial ring and threw it to Lu Wenyang. However, Lu Feng was shocked in the next moment. He saw Lu Wenyang pass the 9 nether wind flame to the LV7 Nirvana stage martial artist behind him after receiving it. He gave it away? Lu Feng's eyes widened. Then, he felt Yi Xian's aura suddenly surging. Ding! Host has devoured the 9 nether wind flame. Ding! Host has broken through. Host is currently at LV8 Nirvana stage. Ding! Host has completed the special level up mission. Wei Zhentian has broken through the level limit once. The system notification shocked Yi Xian. Wei Zhentian was no longer restricted by his level? This meant that Wei Zhentian could break through to become a level 6 divine weapon, which was also the immortal stage. However, Yi Xian suddenly saw a LV1 immortal stage label behind Wei Zhentian. This meant that Wei Zhentian could break through to LV1 immortal stage now. Haha! Yi Xian couldn't help but laugh in his heart. He then devoured the ores that he had accumulated earlier. Ding! Host has reached the peak of LV8 Nirvana stage. Chapter 1398. Ding! The host has reached the pinnacle of Nirvana stage level 8. Ding! Wei Zhentian has broken through and is currently at immortality stage level 1. 2 more system notifications rang out. Yi Xian glanced at the heavenly flame that he needed next. Then his eyes flickered. Eye of Soul. This move was used on Lu Feng. Lu Feng had just broken through to immortality stage and was much weaker than Lu Wanyang. However, he was still 2 levels higher than Yi Xian. Yi Xian's Eye of Soul failed this time. However, when Yi Xian used his Eye of Soul, Lu Wanyang suddenly made his move. Boom! Lu Wanyang's fist landed on Lu Feng's chest. Lu Feng spat out a mouthful of blood and his eyes widened. He couldn't understand why his ancestor would give the 9 nether wind flame to someone else. He also couldn't understand why he would attack and injure him. However, in the next moment he understood. Eye of Soul. Ding! Control successful. Lu Feng was also controlled by Yi Xian. The Lu family was only left with Lu Bingzhen, who was at immortality stage level 2. Now, Lu Bingzhen had to face 4 immortality stage powerhouses. If Wei Zhentian was here, there would be 5 of them. However, Wei Zhentian was far away and was protecting Song Suijing and Adjudicator Song. When Lu Bingzhen saw Lu Wenyang make a move and bring Lu Feng along to follow behind Yi Xian, her heart went cold. It seemed that Lu Feng was also being controlled. Who are you guys? Lu Bingzhen asked in confusion. If they were immortality stage powerhouses, it would be fine. However, Yi Xian and Luo Luo were only Nirvana stage powerhouses. This was too strange. Could it be that the world had changed? Could Nirvana stage be after immortality stage? Submit to me and I will ensure the safety of your Lu family. Otherwise, the 2 of them will die immediately. Yi Xian's cold voice fell into Lu Bingzhen's ears. Lu Bingzhen suddenly thought of something and asked in surprise, "It was you who destroyed the Yinyang Temple?" The Yinyang Temple was destroyed by 2 samsara travelers, not me. Yi Xian replied calmly. Reincarnator. Lu Bingzhen trembled and couldn't help but stop. After thinking for a moment she asked, "If I submit to you, what if you go back on your word? If I want to kill you, you won't live for more than 10 seconds. If I want to destroy your Lu family, it won't take more than 10 seconds. Yi Xian didn't answer the question. He only spoke the truth. Luo Luo was able to stall Lu Bingzhen by herself. Now that Yi Xian had broken through to the 8th level of the Nirvana realm, his strength wasn't any weaker than Luo Luo's. In addition to Lu Wanyang and Lu Feng, if they were to really fight, Lu Bingzhen would fall within 10 seconds. Seeing Lu Bingzhen hesitate, Yi Xian continued, "I'll give you 3 seconds to consider. After 3 seconds, you will personally witness the destruction of the Lu family." 3 seconds was very fast for an ordinary person. However, for an immortal realm elite it was very long. In 3 seconds they could think of many things. In the end, Lu Bingzhen compromised and nodded. "All right, I submit to you. I hope you will keep your promise." "Don't worry, I don't make promises easily. Once I agree, I will definitely do it." After Yi Xian finished speaking, he immediately used his soul eye on Lu Bingzhen. At first, the 1,000-year-old Lu Bingzhen resisted. This was normal. After all, there was an unyielding will in her body. After Yi Xian used his soul eye for the 3rd time, a system notification rang. Ding! Control successful. Lu Bingzhen, who was at the 2nd level of the immortal realm, had become Yi Xian's fighter. If Lu Bingzhen resisted, it would be difficult to subdue her even with his soul eye. However, Lu Bingzhen was threatened by Yi Xian, so she could only agree. As Yi Xian said, Luo Luo alone could hold her back. In that case, Yi Xian, Lu Wenyang, and Lu Feng could easily destroy the Lu family. Very good. After hearing the system notification, Yi Xian nodded in satisfaction. Lu Bingzhen's shout had attracted many people's attention. Now that they saw Lu Bingzhen submit, they were shocked speechless. The strongest person in the Lu family actually submitted to a Nirvana realm martial artist. No one dared to believe it, but this was the truth. Now that he had subdued Lu Bingzhen and the Lu family was under his control, it was time to collect the spoils of war. Lu Bingzhen had submitted to him, so he didn't want to be too ruthless. After all, the Lu family still needed to run. After collecting the spoils, it was time to get down to business. Where is the cross-realm teleportation portal? Yi Xian turned his head and asked Lu Bingzhen. It's under the Lu family. Lu Bingzhen replied. Okay, open it. I want to teleport to the Penglai Divine Land. After Yi Xian finished speaking, He broke through the void and directly took Song Sui-jing and Judge Song. Finally, they were going home. This cross-realm teleportation portal was much more advanced than the one in the Penglai Divine Land. It could teleport many people at once. However, Yi Xian only had 3 people, so it didn't cost much. Before leaving, Yi Xian also instructed Lu Bingzhen to find some things he needed. For example, the Scarlet Blood Fire. The Scarlet Blood Fire was ranked 84th on the Exceptional Flame list. It was usually born in the body of a great killer. The so-called Great Killer was a killer who killed without blinking an eye. For no reason, they would annihilate an entire family. They killed for fun and had killed tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of people. This was the key to Yi Xian's breakthrough to the 9th level of the Nirvana realm. In addition, Yi Xian asked Lu Bingzhen to do her best to find the Devourer beast. Whoosh! The cross-realm teleportation portal began to rotate. After a dazzling light bloomed, Yi Xian, Song Sui-jing, and Judge Song's careers changed. They had arrived at the Penglai Divine Land. Are we back? Judge Song touched his head in astonishment. Yes, we're here. Yi Xian nodded. The Yin-Yang Old Ancestor had also been to this place before, so Yi Xian knew where it was. However, before they were teleported back, Yi Xian's second clone in the eastern continent was the first to arrive. Ta-ta-ta! A series of footsteps passed through. Song Sui-jing and Judge Song trembled and were extremely vigilant. It's me! Yi Xian's second clone walked out. The 3 clones had gathered. Let's go home. Before the second clone rushed over, he had left a lot of void trackers, so they only needed to pass through the void door to reach the Bloodrock sect. After passing through several void doors, they finally arrived at the entrance of the Bloodrock continent. Then, they passed through the secret territory's entrance. They had returned to the Bloodrock continent. The yuan qi of heaven and earth here is too thin. After passing through the secret territory's entrance and returning to the Bloodrock continent, Judge Song could not help but frown after feeling the yuan qi. Chapter 1399. Yi Xian nodded and said, "Yes, it's far worse than the sacred ground." Ordinary people needed to absorb yuan qi to cultivate, but he didn't need it. Thus, the yuan qi didn't affect him. However, if the yuan qi in the Bloodstone continent was 1, then the yuan qi in the Yin-Yang temple was 1 million yuan qi. The difference was like heaven and earth. Let's go! After returning to the Bloodstone continent, Yi Xian's eyes flickered as he opened a void door. Next stop, Lianyun City. After Song Sui-jing and Song Caijue passed through the void door, they arrived at a large hall. There were already hundreds of people gathered here. They all received the news and gathered here to welcome the return of Song Sui-jing and Song Caijue. Caijue! After seeing Song Caijue, Lan Yu and Song Caijue's wife rushed over and hugged each other. It has been 3 years. At that time, Yi Xian, Yi Chong, and Song Caijue were holding a wedding together. However, they didn't expect that a Yin-Yang ancestor would appear out of nowhere and snatch Song Caijue and Song Caijue away. Fortunately, no one died that day. The only ones who succeeded in getting married were Yi Chong and Lin Wenyue. Yi Xian's wife, Song Sui-jing, and Lan Yu's husband, Song Caijue, were kidnapped. This made Yi Xian embark on the road of finding his wife. Now, he finally found her. Father, grandfather! Tears welled up in Song Kai-jing's eyes when he saw Song Zheng and Song Cheng walking towards him. Good, it's good that you're back. Song Zheng hugged his daughter who had been separated from him for 3 years and revealed a gratified smile. Their family was finally reunited. In the past 3 years, many people had moved into Lianyun City. Those who had retired from the Great Song dynasty had all come. Yi Xian was thinking that when the cultivation space's level increased, he would directly open up a continent for them to live and develop. After all, the yuan qi in the cultivation space wasn't any worse than the Yin-Yang temple. These people could all live to 100 years old. In the future, when Yi Xian achieved immortal level or even rebirth level, they would be able to benefit from him and break through to immortal level as well, becoming a powerhouse. This time, Yi Xian had no intention of leaving in the near future. Furthermore, his original body was still overseeing the Lu family and investigating some matters. After resting, the first clone would go to the Glazed Light Holy Land to meet up with the main body, and then they would begin their training. But right now, there was still an important matter to attend to. The wedding 3 years ago was interrupted by the Yin-Yang Old Ancestor, So Yi Xian and adjudicator Song wanted to hold another wedding. It only took a day to prepare for the wedding. Lianyun City specially sent experts to pick up the representatives of the various forces. There was no need for gifts when attending a wedding. Instead, there were all kinds of precious pills and elixirs. There were over 10,000 guests. Yi Xian remembered that it was the supreme sacred beast, Rainbow Sparrow, that escorted the bride to the wedding. Now, of course, he couldn't use such low-level saint beasts. This time, it was a pair of Nirvana level 9 colored phoenixes. Last time, there were 6 brides, but this time, there were only 4. After all, Lin Wanyue and Jiang Xinyan were already married to Yi Chong. The wedding went much smoother than expected. This time, no one dared to disturb them. Soon, Yi Xian and adjudicator Song married their respective brides and returned to their own mansions. Next, it was time for the bridal chamber. In Yi Xian's floating island, there were only Song Suijing, Guan Yulan, and Yi Xian. One person married 2 brides at the same time. This body was generally not enough, but Yi Xian was different. Tisk, TSK, there is only one adjudicator, but I have 2. Yi Xian had a sneaky look on his face. He suddenly cloned himself outside the door, and then walked into the bridal chamber. Not long after, sounds of nature could be heard from inside. The Gemini bloodline, no, the immortal Phoenix bloodline's undying clone was simply a divine skill. On this day, the 2 girls, Song Suijing and Guan Yulan, had successfully transformed into women. Originally, they could have consummated their marriage 3 years ago, but because of the Yin Yang old ancestor, it was delayed for 3 years. In these 3 years, Yi Xian had been restraining himself. Now, he could finally vent and become a real man. A newlywed's moment was worth 1,000 gold. Although Yi Xian wasn't in the immortal realm, his body had been tempered by the mysterious fire. Last night, Yi Xian and his 2 wives didn't sleep at all. God knows how many rounds they fought until the sky brightened up. Song Suijing was in the 7th level of the Nirvana realm and was about to break through. Guan Yulan was slightly weaker, but she also relied on pills to reach the 5th level of the Nirvana realm. It was also because of this that they could withstand Yi Xian's torment. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to endure it. Yi Xian had the immortal Phoenix bloodline, but Song Suijing and Guan Yulan didn't. Therefore, the 2 women were exhausted and fell asleep. Then, Yi Xian left the floating island and came to Lianyun City. Bad young master. You bullied the 2 sisters for an entire night, right? When Luo saw Yi Xian, she hurriedly came up to him. How did you know? Yi Xian was a little surprised. Of course I guessed, I'm not stupid. Luo stuck out her tongue, then grabbed a drumstick and ate it. I'm going to see a senior, do you want to come? Yi Xian suddenly said. Senior, there's a senior here? When Luo heard this, she was a little surprised. Yi Xian was in the 8th level of the Nirvana realm, so it was impossible for there to be anyone higher than him. Therefore, Luo guessed that the senior Yi Xian was talking about should be a senior. Yes, a hidden expert. I don't know what realm he is at. Yi Xian nodded slightly. The senior he was talking about was old immortal Tianju of the vast wilderness. 3 years ago, after Song Suijing and Song Caijue were captured, Yi Xian went to see old immortal Tianju. If old immortal Tianju hadn't told him about the Yin Yang temple, he probably wouldn't have gone to the glazed light sacred ground. Therefore, Yi Xian owed old immortal Tianju a favor. A big favor. This time, he was going to thank old immortal Tianju. Hidden expert, it seems that he's at least in the immortality realm. Luo was also a little curious, so she followed Yi Xian and left. Now that Yi Xian had broken through to the 8th level of the Nirvana realm, his spiritual sense was enough to cover the entire Blood Cliff continent even without the eye of perception and killer instinct. However, he couldn't penetrate the vast wilderness. In the blink of an eye, he brought Luo to the depths of the vast wilderness. Senior! Yi Xian opened his mouth, but before he could finish, an old voice sounded. Come in through the light pillar. The voice belonged to old immortal Tianju. Even Yi Xian could cover the entire Blood Cliff continent, so it wasn't surprising that this mysterious expert knew of his arrival. Yi Xian brought Luo through the light pillar and arrived in front of a wooden house. Old immortal Tianju was sitting in the courtyard in front of the wooden house, practicing calligraphy and cultivating his mind. Chapter 1400. Junior is here to thank Senior. Junior's wife has been found. Yi Xian cupped his fists and thanked him. Small matter. Old immortal Tianju waved his brush and finished the last stroke. It was the word, Tian. Junior's realm is too low. I don't know how to repay Senior. Yi Xian said as he suddenly took out a piece of parchment from his interspatial ring and handed it to old immortal Tianju. Old immortal Tianju glanced at it, and in the next moment, the brush in his hand suddenly trembled. Sky-piercing treasure map? Old immortal Tianju shouted in his heart. His eyes widened, and his expression was extremely shocked. After a pause, he asked in surprise, "This thing, where did you get it?" His tone made Yi Xian somewhat startled. It seemed that this thing had aroused old immortal Tianju's interest. Junior got this after killing Yin Yang old ancestor, but Junior couldn't understand it. Yi Xian replied honestly. Yin Yang old ancestor. Old immortal Tianju almost rolled his eyes. He naturally knew about this sky-piercing treasure map, but he didn't expect that he would almost miss such a treasure. Yin Yang old ancestor had come to Blood Rock continent before. He didn't expect that this thing would be in his interspatial ring. You want to use this thing to repay my favor? Old immortal Tianju's eyes fell on Yi Xian. Yes. Yi Xian nodded solemnly. A drop of water should be repaid with a gushing spring. The value of this sky-piercing treasure map had probably exceeded his expectations. Even old immortal Tianju was interested in it. But if it wasn't for old immortal Tianju, Yi Xian wouldn't know where to find Song Sui Jing. He would just wander around Penglai Holy Land blindly, and he didn't know if he would ever see her again in this life. Although 3 years was a long time, Yi Xian might not find Song Sui Jing for 100 years without old immortal Tianju. After all, who knew what would happen in the future? Just like before, when the Yin Yang Temple suddenly provoked a powerful enemy and was destroyed, Song Sui Jing and Adjudicator Song might also die. No matter how precious this heavenly treasure map was, it couldn't compare to the Song Sui Jing, so Yi Xian felt that it was worth it. All right, I'll take it. Old immortal Tianju nodded and kept the heavenly treasure map. Upon hearing this, Yi Xian heaved a sigh of relief. He was afraid that the heavenly treasure map was worthless. If that was the case, he would always remember this favor. If you have any difficulties in the future, you can come find me. I will do my best, old immortal Tianju added. Thank you, Senior. Yi Xian cupped his fists and thanked him. In the future, he would know what old immortal Tianju's "do your best" meant. You brought this little girl here to ask about the bloodline in her body, right? Old immortal Tianju glanced at Luo Luo and said, her bloodline is rare, even for me. However, I know something related to this little girl. If you want to know more, you should go to the west of the land of reincarnation. Upon hearing this, Yi Xian was stunned. The land of reincarnation? The West. This name was obviously related to the rebirth state. Yi Xian hadn't even reached the immortality state, so it shouldn't be that fast. However, Yi Xian didn't expect Luo Luo's bloodline to be so powerful that it was related to the rebirth state. Could it be that Luo Luo was also a reincarnator? Thank you, Senior. Yi Xian cupped his fists and thanked old immortal Tianju once again before leaving with Luo Luo. After the two of them left, old immortal Tianju couldn't help but take out the heavenly treasure map from before. Then, he took out another piece of paper and pieced it together. I actually obtained 2 heavenly treasure maps. Old immortal Tianju muttered. Old immortal Tianju muttered. He didn't dare to believe this fact. After leaving the great wilderness, Yi Xian returned to Lianyun City. Young master, that Senior looked so powerful. What realm do you think he is? Luo Luo asked curiously. At least the rebirth state, Yi Xian replied. I don't think so. Luo Luo shook her head. Anyway, he's much stronger than us. Yi Xian paused for a moment before sending a voice transmission to Luo Luo. Furthermore, I feel that this isn't the real body of that Senior. What we saw just now was just a true energy avatar. It can't be. Luo Luo turned around in shock and replied, then where is his real body? I'm not sure. I don't know why he would appear in the Blood Rock continent. Yi Xian shook his head. However, he only knew that old immortal Tianju was related to the monster race in the Great Wilderness. Otherwise, he wouldn't have stopped him previously. At that time, Yi Xian wanted to exterminate the monster race in the great wilderness. Now that he thought about it, he felt a little creeped out. Yi Xian stayed in the eastern continent for a month. During this month, Song Suijing and Guan Yulan rarely appeared. This was because they had to play with Yi Xian at night and sleep during the day. After a month, it was time for Yi Xian to leave for the sacred ground of flowing light again. As for the eastern continent, he left his second avatar to accompany his family. Soon, the first avatar met up with his real body in the Lu family and fused with him. During this month, the Lu family had heard about the Crimson Blood Fire. There's a broken sky city in the north of the Lu family. There's a longevity pageant held there. Anyone below the longevity state can participate. The Crimson Blood Fire is one of the rewards. Yi Xian's eyes flickered. Then, he left the Lu family. The longevity pageant would be held 3 days later. Therefore, Yi Xian had to arrive at the Broken Sky City within 3 days. Fortunately, he was at the peak of the 8th level of the Nirvana realm. If he used the Dark Shadow Steps, his speed would far surpass that of a longevity state expert. 3 days later, Yi Xian arrived at the Broken Sky City. Tomorrow was the day of the longevity pageant. The main purpose of this longevity pageant is to unearth geniuses. First, it's to test their realm. Second, it's to test their age. Then, everyone will be graded. After 100 people have been graded, the test will be held. The Crimson Blood Fire is the reward for the first place. Yi Xian thought to himself as he walked towards the longevity pageant's registration point. The registration test only allowed those who passed and those who failed. Those who passed would be tested again at the longevity pageant tomorrow. At that time, the results would be determined. If there was a sect that had taken a fancy to them, they could extend an olive branch to them. If they couldn't even pass the registration test, it would mean that their aptitude was extremely poor. Yi Xian entered the longevity pageant and handed over the Nirvana pills to register. The test was very simple. He used a special crystal. Whoosh! The crystal glowed. This meant that Yi Xian had passed the test. This is the qualification token for the longevity pageant. You are number 666. An attendant handed the token to Yi Xian. Not a bad number. Yi Xian narrowed his eyes and asked in his mind, Luo, do you want to try? Chapter 1401. Luo was even scarier. She was only 16 years old this year, but she had already reached the peak of Nirvana realm at such a young age. Her aptitude was probably enough to instantly kill all the geniuses in Broken Sky City. Not to mention Luo, even Yi Xian could instantly kill her. Me? I'm not going. If I go, young master won't be able to get first place. Luo shook her head in the planting space. Yi Xian was stunned. Luo was at the peak of Nirvana realm, and even he wasn't confident of defeating her. Most importantly, Luo's aptitude would probably cause a huge commotion. Luo was already at Nirvana realm. As long as Yi Xian broke through, she would break through as well. Who would believe that a teenage immortality realm powerhouse? Even rebirth realm powerhouses would probably fight to take her as their disciple. Soon, the next day arrived. The Longevity Grand Meet was a grand event held in Broken Sky City every year. Many people came to join in the fun. The number Yi Xian received yesterday was 666, which proved that there were more than 600 people ahead of him. Tisk. TSK. So many powerhouses. Old Tree stood beside Luo and laughed softly. He had long been at the peak of Nirvana realm, but because of Yi Xian, he couldn't break through. As for Wei Zhentian, he transformed into a little green fox and laid on Yi Xian's shoulder with a lazy look. No one would have thought that this cute little green fox actually had the combat strength of an immortality realm. Soon, people arrived one after another. Even the organizer of the event, the Broken Sky City's City Lord Mansion, had come. Apart from the Broken Sky City's City Lord Mansion, there were 2 other major sects sponsoring the Longevity Grand Meet. One was the Mystic Heaven sect, and the other was the North Wind Mountain. These 3 forces had Immortality Realm Level 3 powerhouses overseeing them. Their strength wasn't weak. 17 Immortality Realm powerhouses, and 6 of them are at Immortality Realm Level 2. Yi Xian narrowed his eyes. This Longevity Grand Meet wasn't in vain. If he could control all these Immortality Realm powerhouses, it would be a huge fortune. However, he had broken through so crazily in order to save Song Suijing. Now that he had rescued Song Sui Jing, he wasn't in a hurry. Otherwise, he could directly find the owner of the Crimson Fire and take it. Soon, the longevity grand meet began. Number 1. Come up to the stage. Yi Xian's City Lord Mansion was Immortality Realms to the Immortality Realm Level 1. Following that, a man to the stage. The disciples of Broken Sky City, Profound Heaven Sect, and North Wind Mountain also participated, but it did not mean that they had to be tested first. This number 1 was a lone cultivator. The test was very simple, and it was done with a special crystal. Not only could the crystal measure one's cultivation level, but it could also measure one's age and give a score. 8th level of the Nirvana stage, 43 years old, 70 points. The general manager of Broken Sky City said loudly. Was 2 to the was to come. 8th level of the Nirvana stage, 40 years old, 72 points. Number S. Nirvana Realms. 43 years old, 73 points. Number 3 was the same age as number 1, also at the 8th level of the Nirvana Realm. But don't forget, there was a difference in strength between the 8th level of the Nirvana Realm. Number 3 was probably at the peak of the 8th level of the Nirvana Realm. The tests continued one by one. The speed of the test was very fast. It didn't even take 5 seconds to test a person. Some of the people in front of them were solo cultivators, while others belonged to clans. The so-called solo cultivators were solo cultivators who didn't join any forces. Soon, 100 people finished the test. Among these 100 people, the one with the highest score was a 50-year-old 9th-level Nirvana Realm martial artist with 80 points. This scoring mechanism was jointly decided by the 3 great forces. The others present didn't know how to judge, but those with high scores recorded it. Next, the disciples of the 3 great forces also began to appear one after another. 82 points. 83 points. 85 points. In the blink of an eye, it overshadowed those who were tested before. Presently, 300 people had already been tested, and the one with the highest score of 85 points was a young master of Broken Sky City's city governor's estate at the 9th level of the Nirvana Realm at the age of 43. Practically all these people had the hope of breaking through to the Longevity Realm before the age of 100. But accidents couldn't be avoided on the path of cultivation. There seemed to be many geniuses now, yet less than 10% of them had truly matured. These people are all so weak. Luo couldn't help but mutter during the test. Of course, these words were spoken via voice transmission. Otherwise, it would surely draw the attention of the people in the surroundings. A 43-year-old 9th-level Nirvana Realm martial artist was still weak? Tisk. TSK. It's already not bad. If I were to ascend the ring, I probably wouldn't even be able to obtain 30 points. Old Tree smiled as he transmitted his voice. He'd lived for a few hundreds of years, yet was only at the 9th level of the Nirvana Realm now, and he was considered to be trash amongst these people. Right at this moment. 9th level of the Nirvana Realm, 30 years old, 92 points. When this voice entered into the ears of everyone, it caused everyone to be shocked. 92 points. A person with 92 points had finally appeared. Everyone's attention was focused on the white-clothed young man on the ring, and some people even recognized him. It's the young sect master of the Profound Heaven Sect, Yi Tian. So it's him. I heard he's the #1 genius of the Profound Heaven Sect. I didn't expect him to participate as well. Isn't this bullying? Sigh, the Scarlet Bloodfire is extremely precious. How could the 3 great powers be willing to give it to an outsider? The people in the surroundings started to discuss. Tiske, what genius? Young master will definitely obtain 100 points later. Luo muttered via voice transmission. Yi Xian raised his eyebrows and said awkwardly, "Cough, I'm only at the 8th level of the Nirvana Realm. Wouldn't I be letting you down if I didn't obtain 100 points? In any case, you'll definitely obtain more points than this #1 genius. Young master, I believe in you." Luo smiled as she raised her small fist. Her large eyes were filled with trust. Yi Xian smiled and didn't say anything. The test continued. The disciples of the 3 great powers didn't have low scores. All of them were above 80 points, and a few were close to 90 points. However, this was only the score of the first round. There were still a few more rounds to go. Soon it was Yi Xian's turn. Number 666. The Broken Sky City's general manager on the ring shouted. This number isn't bad. I wonder how many points he'll obtain? Many people had such thoughts in their hearts. When he heard this, Yi Xian stomped his feet and leaped onto the ring. Begin the test. The Broken Sky City's general manager passed the test crystal to Yi Xian. Yi Xian placed his palm on the crystal. In the next moment, the crystal emitted a bright light. The Broken Sky City's general manager glanced at it and was slightly surprised. 8th level of the Nirvana realm, 26 years old, 90. 5 points. Chapter 1402. 95 points. That was 3 points higher than the young sect leader of the mysterious heaven sect, Yi Tian. At the same time, it was the highest score in the test. How is that possible? Everyone was shocked. Could it be that the young man on the stage was a hidden genius from some force? The general manager of Broken Sky City was a little surprised. He let Yi Xian take the test again and the result was the same. How is that possible? Yi Tian, who was in the mysterious heaven sect's camp, was shocked. The arrogant him had already taken the first place in the longevity grand meet. Now, there was a problem in the first round. What was going on? I remember that there was a 30-year-old peak 8th level Nirvana realm martial artist in the profound heaven sect with a score of 88 points. This young man is 4 years younger than him, and his aura is also at the peak of the 8th level of the Nirvana realm. An old man from the North Wind Mountains said as he stroked his beard. As soon as he said that, the surrounding people felt that it made sense. After all, the test crystal belonged to the 3 major forces. It couldn't be faked. 95 points then. It's only the first round. The governor of Broken Sky City said. Yi Xian. 95 points. It's settled. However, Yi Tian from the mysterious heaven sect was a little unconvinced. After remembering Yi Xian's score, he ignored him. After all, it was only the first round of the longevity grand meet. There were still 2 more rounds. Young master, I told you that your score would be higher than his. Seeing Yi Xian get off the stage, Luo transmitted her voice to him. You will definitely score 100 points. Yi Xian transmitted his voice with a smile. I don't like being stared at by so many people. Luo shook her head. Just as the two of them were chatting, someone suddenly landed beside them. It was a middle-aged man who was at Immortality Realm Level 2. I'm the sect leader of the mysterious heaven sect, Yi Teng. May I know which sect you are from? The middle-aged man cupped his fist and asked. I don't belong to any sect. Yi Xian was a little surprised. However, he knew the reason why the sect leader of the mysterious heaven sect was there. The sect leader of the mysterious heaven sect was surprised. If he didn't belong to any sect, it meant that Yi Xian had worked hard to get to where he was. This was a bonus. One had to know that Yi Tian, the son of the sect leader of the profound heaven sect, had eaten precious treasures of heaven and earth since he was young. Furthermore, he had the guidance of various experts. It was hard for him not to have a high cultivation base. The surrounding people who were listening attentively were also shocked. It seemed that Yi Xian would have a good place to go in the future. After all, Yi Teng was the leader of the profound heaven sect. If he could become his disciple, he would definitely be able to break through to the immortal realm in the future. This little girl is. At this moment, the sect leader of the profound heaven sect focused his gaze on Luo. Don't look at me. I'm already 130 years old. Luo suddenly put on a weathered expression. Oh. After the sect master of the profound heaven sect heard this, he did not ask further. Some people just like to look young. Don't look at how young a person is. Bonehead might already be a few hundred years old. Take the Yin Yang ancestor for example. He looked like a young man, but he was already more than 800 years old. However, there were not many old people in this area. Broken Sky City only had a history of 200 years. The other 2 sects only had a history of 300 to 400 years. They were not even as old as the Lu family. The sect leader of the profound heaven sect finally focused his attention on Yi Xian and said, I wonder if you're willing to become my disciple? As soon as he said this, a huge commotion broke out in the surroundings. As expected, the sect leader of the profound heaven sect was here to recruit a disciple. Instantly, countless envious gazes fell on Yi Xian. However, no one expected that Yi Xian would not agree immediately. Let's talk about it after the longevity grand banquet, Yi Xian replied casually. What a joke. Asking him to join the Profound Heaven sect? What an international joke. If these people knew how long it took him to break through to the 8th level of the Nirvana realm from the Manifestation realm, their mouths would definitely open so wide that they could swallow an egg. After the longevity grand banquet? The sect leader of the Profound Heaven sect did not expect Yi Xian to give such an answer. He wanted to say more, but suddenly, another person flew over. Sect leader Yi, let's wait until the longevity grand banquet is over. The person who spoke was an old man. He was the sect leader of the North Wind Mountain and was also at the 2nd level of the longevity realm. It seemed that he had also taken a liking to Yi Xian. Not only that, but the city lord of Broken Sky City also cast a friendly gaze. All 3 major forces were interested in Yi Xian. Let's wait until the longevity grand banquet is over. Yi Teng snorted coldly and immediately flew back to the Profound Heaven sect's camp. This scene fell into the ears of almost everyone. It was only the first aptitude assessment, and Yi Xian was already taken in by the 3 major forces. It seemed that Yi Xian had made a meteoric rise. Of course, there were also people who guessed Yi Xian's intentions. This was only the first assessment, and there were still a few more to come. They guessed that Yi Xian might become even more popular. When that time came, he would receive even more attention. After joining a force, he would also obtain a higher status. Soon, everyone was done with the assessment, and there were exactly 700 people. Then, the next step was to eliminate the 600 people who were ranked at the bottom, leaving only 100 people. The first 100 people were all above 70 points, and there were even a few who were unlucky enough to score 70 points and were eliminated. They were ranked between 100 and 105. The first 100 have been listed. The rankings are as follows. The city lord of Broken Sky City began to announce the rankings. The first place was naturally Yi Xian with 95 points, and the second place was Yi Tian of the Profound Heaven sect with 92 points. As for the third place, it dropped to 89 points. For the second and third round, the city lord will draw the assessment content. The city lord of Broken Sky City took out a lot pot. The content of the second and third round of the longevity grand banquet was different every time. Last time it was the sect leader of the Profound Heaven sect, and the next time it was the sect leader of the North Wind Mountain, so this time it was the city lord of Broken Sky City. The city lord of Broken Sky City took out 2 bamboo lots one after another. The second round, the illusion array test. The third round, the attack power test. The city lord of Broken Sky City announced loudly, "Please come to the stage." The illusion array test was set up by an expert to see who could break the array faster. As for the attack power test, it was needless to say. "Young master, do your best." Luo smiled and transmitted her voice. Yi Xian smiled and also leaped onto the stage. The illusion array test was a common occurrence for him. With the eye of revelation, he could see through everything. When all 100 people gathered on the stage, the city lord of Broken Sky City continued, "Please sit down. When the test begins, the first person to break the illusion will stand up. Breaking the illusion in 1 breath is 99 points, 2 breaths is 98 points, and so on." Yi Xian followed his instructions and sat down. Chapter 1403. As usual, we'll set up the Ichthyosaur illusory array. The elder from Beifeng Mountain said. No problem. The 2 of them immediately started setting up the illusory array. In less than half a minute, the array was completed. Once one fell into the Ichthyosaur illusory array, one would feel like a carp. Only by crossing the dragon gate and transforming into a dragon could one be considered to have successfully broken the array. However, it wasn't something that an ordinary person could do. Let the illusory array test begin. As soon as the city lord of Broken Sky City finished speaking, the 2 experts activated the Ichthyosaur illusory array. In an instant, the hundreds of participants in the field fell into the illusory array. Even Yi Xian was the same. At this moment, Yi Xian didn't use the eye of revelation. He saw that he was in the water and there were many fishes swimming around him. He had turned into a carp. His arms, legs, and head had all disappeared. He was now a carp. Other than swimming, he had no other abilities. Even his spiritual sense had disappeared. The array was so advanced that it made people think that they were a carp even though they were sitting cross-legged on the ground with their eyes closed. Although Yi Xian wanted to play with the illusory array, He decided to use the Eye of Revelation to ensure that he didn't make a mistake. However, it was only after 5 breaths. The Eye of Revelation broke all the illusory arrays. After silently counting in his heart, Yi Xian didn't open his eyes and directly stood up from the ground. He had successfully broken the array. This scene caused everyone present to be dumbfounded. In just 5 breaths, Yi Xian had broken the illusory array? How was this possible? One had to know that Yi Tian of the Profound Heaven sect was still in the illusory array. He was at the 9th level of the Nirvana realm. This kid is either skilled in array formations or his soul strength is stronger than Yi Tian's. Many of the experts thought so in their hearts. Yi Xian had broken the illusory array in 5 breaths, which meant that he had a score of 95 points. He was still ranked first with 95 points in 2 rounds. This was the first time in the history of the Longevity Grand Meet that such a score had appeared. The first round of the Longevity Grand Meet would never change. It was a test of aptitude. There might be some differences in the second round, but there were many who had drawn the illusory array test in the second round. However, this was the first time that a score of 190 points in 2 rounds had appeared. The crowd below the stage, as they recalled the scene when Yi Xian had rejected the sect leader. Sure enough, Yi Xian had a trump card and needed to continue exploding. Yi Xian's the sect leader. The sect leader of the Beifeng Mountain was also the sect leader of the Mountain Sect. It seemed like they were going to compete. After another 3 breaths of time, the Profound Heaven sect's Yi Tian finally succeeded in breaking the illusion array. 92 points. In the first round he also had 92 points, and now he still had 92 points. In total, he had 184 points, which was a full 6 points lower than Yi Xian. What? When Yi Tian opened his eyes and stood up, he saw Yi Xian straight back. Yi was Yi Array 1 had to know that in order to get a high score, he had specially asked the formation expert in his sect to set up the Ichthyosaur illusory formation and had specially practiced for a period of time. He could cross the Dragon Gate and break the illusory array within 8 breaths. How could he have expected Yi Xian to be faster than him? That was impossible. 92 points. The Broken Sky City's chief steward glanced at Yi Tian and reported the score. At the same time, he mouthed Yi Xian's score. 95 points? Yi Tian was shocked. He looked at Yi Xian's back with resentment. Yi Xian had stolen his thunder in the first round. Yi Xian had stolen his thunder in the second round. How could he tolerate this? The third round is a test of attack power. I'm at the 9th level of the Nirvana realm, and this kid is only at the 8th level. I'll close the gap in an instant. Yi Tian thought to himself. He had the strength to fight against an Immortality Realm expert. As long as the Immortality Realm expert didn't burn his life force, he could fight them. He didn't believe that he would still be in second place after the third round. Time passed by slowly. Soon, the second round was over. The illusory array wasn't a powerful one. All 100 of them had successfully broken the illusory array. The longest they had taken was 30 breaths, which was 70 points. The Broken Sky City's chief steward added the 2 scores of the participants and reported the last one. Every time he reported Yi Tian's name, Yi Tian's eyes would become filled with resentment. He had always been in first place in the Profound Heaven sect. How could he be in second place this time? The third round is a test of attack power. After the Broken Sky City's chief steward finished speaking, he suddenly took out a giant tortoise shell from his yin and yang ring. This is the tortoise shell of the Profound Spirit Tortoise? Someone recognized it. Nonsense. The second round 2 years ago was also a test of attack power. It was tested using the tortoise shell of the Profound Spirit Tortoise. The tortoise shell of the Profound Spirit Tortoise has been specially refined. I heard that the tortoise shell will emit different colors according to the strength of the attack. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, silver, and gold. If it's gold, it will leave a mark on the tortoise shell. Yi Xian heard about the origin of the tortoise shell from the people around him. It was said that the Profound Spirit Tortoise was an immortal level Tong Tian beast. Its defense was amazing. Even a level 2 immortal level expert might not be able to kill the Profound Spirit Tortoise. Alright, I will determine the score. All of you just have to do is to use your strongest attack. We will start from the 100th place. The Broken Sky City's chief steward said. Then, the participants in the arena retreated to the side while the Broken Sky City's chief steward stood on the other side. He used his manifestation force to support the profound spirit tortoise's shell that was 10 meters tall. Profound Sun Swordplay. The sword in the 100th place's hand suddenly burned and he slashed at the tortoise shell. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The flame attack pierced through the air and accurately hit the Xianling giant turtle's shell. Bang! The flame dissipated. Swoosh! The tortoise shell of the profound spirit tortoise shone. It was blue. The color was a little dark, but it was not purple. Hence, it should be between 60 and 70 points. The chief steward of the Castellan mansion looked at it and announced, 67 points. The 100th place had obtained more than 70 points in the first and second round. However, he had obtained 67 points in the attack power test. It was unexpected. Only the top 10 places would be rewarded. The 11th to the 100th place did not receive any rewards. However, some of them were only there to show off. They did not care about the rewards. Then, it was time for the 99th place to start the test. 72 points. The chief steward of the Castellan mansion continued to announce. The participants started the test one by one. Yi Xian, who was at the side of the arena, did not care. Those attacks were too weak for him. Chapter 1404. Not to mention that Wei Zhentian had already broken through to Immortality Stage 1, Yi Xian still had the Divine Sword Bloodline, Immortal Phoenix Bloodline, Matchless Flame Dragon Slash, Killing Intent Explosion and Burning Sky Pill. Even a Stage 1 Immortality Stage expert would not be able to compete with him in terms of attack power, let alone a Nirvana Realm expert. The participants were tested one by one. Soon, it was the turn of the top 10. The top 10 were the elites of the three forces and they were all Stage 9 Nirvana Realm martial artists. 87 points. 87 points. 88 points. The third place was the young governor of Broken Sky City. However, he was 3 years older than Yi Tian and he scored 90 points in one strike. The next one would be Yi Tian from the Mysterious Heaven sect. Humph. Watch me take back the points. Yi Tian snorted in his heart and walked out with his sword. Mysterious Heaven sword skill. Swoosh! A ray of sword light pierced through the air and struck the mysterious spirit tortoise's shell. Crack! A crisp sound was heard. The attack had actually shattered the mysterious spirit tortoise's shell. It was dark gold in color. 96 points. The general manager of Broken Sky City announced. His attack power was 96 points. In addition to the previous score of 184 points, he had a total of 280 points, which was 10 points more than the young governor of Broken Sky City. Currently, Yi Xian had 295 points, which was 190 points. If he wanted to continue to be the first, he would have to score at least 90 points. But those few 8th level Nirvana stage martial artists from before, the highest was only 80 points. Humph. Yi Tian snorted and glanced at Yi Xian. It was as if he was saying, "Trash, if you have the guts, you can try to score 90 points." Yi Xian chose to ignore Yi Tian's stupid stare. Second place is second place. You want to be first? How dare you challenge me? Then, I will let you be second place forever. Number 1. Come out and test. The general manager of Broken Sky City shouted. Yi Xian walked out. In his hand was the Scarlet Flame Sword, a high-grade divine artifact of the 5th step. Just now, he had already calculated the defense of the mysterious spirit giant tortoise, and he was confident that he could break through it. However, piercing through would not be fun. Actually, the surrounding experts weren't too optimistic about Yi Xian. They only felt that Yi Xian was a talent that could be molded. However, Yi Xian was only at the 8th level of the Nirvana realm after all. It would be difficult for him to defeat Yi Tian in the test of offensive strength. If this brat can score 90 points in the attack power test, I'll admit defeat. That might not be the case. Look at how confident he is. He's so handsome, I want to marry him. This was what a passerby beauty said. However, she had already been charmed by Luoluo and could be considered as Luoluo's accomplice. There was an uproar below the arena. At this time, Broken Sky City's chief steward suddenly raised his hand and bellowed, "Silence!" The crowd immediately quieted down. Tisk, tisk. Yi Xian suddenly laughed strangely in his heart, and then directly attacked. Raging Inferno Sword Technique. Swish! A flaming sword chi pierced through the air. This move was a high-grade Nirvana divine ability that he had just copied down, and it happened to be of the fire attribute. Rumble! The sword chi slashed on the turtle shell of the mysterious spirit giant tortoise, and only a crisp sound could be heard. A crack appeared on the turtle shell. Crack! At the same time, there was a dazzling golden light. The entire crowd was silent. A crack appeared, and a golden light bloomed. This was at least 90 points. 91 points. After being stunned for a moment, Broken Sky City's chief steward announced. 91 points. Yi Xian's score. 95, 95, 91. A total of 281 points. Just 1 point higher than the second place Yi Tian. 1 point. Gulp. After hearing this score, Yi Tian's throat suddenly surged with a bitter liquid, but he forcefully suppressed it. No. This is impossible. Yi Tian opened his eyes wide in disbelief. He, who was at the 9th level of the Nirvana realm, actually lost. How was this possible? Not only did he not expect this, but the people around him also felt the same. Compared to everyone else, there were only a few people who thought that Yi Xian would score 90 points. However, Yi Xian had exceeded everyone's expectations and produced a golden light. After 3 rounds of testing, Yi Xian was ranked first. The Crimson Blood Fire was his. This kid is a moldable talent. We must get him. The sect leader of the mysterious Heaven sect's eyes flickered. Yi Xian's talent was above Yi Tian's, and he would definitely become the strongest person in the mysterious Heaven sect in the future. However, the other 2 major forces were also eyeing him covetously. The sect leader of the mysterious Heaven sect knew that they would definitely not back down. Then, it all depended on Yi Xian. After all, the mysterious Heaven sect was the first force to extend an olive branch to Yi Xian. All right, the testing is over. Then, the chief steward of Broken Sky City was about to announce the overall results. However, at this moment, someone suddenly interrupted. Wait! As the voice sounded, everyone's gaze fell on that person. That person was actually Yi Tian. I feel that the attack just now can only be counted as 90 points. Yi Tian suddenly said. As soon as those words came out, the surrounding people felt that Yi Tian was a bit of a sore loser. Almost everyone thought that the Golden Light was a score of 91 people, and the chief steward of Broken Sky City also judged it to be 91. Could it be that Yi Xian had to fight again? This kid. The sect leader of the mysterious Heaven sect was a little displeased because Yi Tian actually acted like a sore loser in front of so many people. This was a disgrace to him and the mysterious Heaven sect. However, he did not stop him. After all, Yi Tian was his son. He also wanted Yi Tian to get first place because the reward for first place was not cheap. Although Yi Xian's talent was not bad, he did not belong to any sect. Who knew if he would join the Broken Sky City or Mount Beifeng? If the Crimson Blood Fire fell into his hands, wouldn't it be a loss? The chief steward of Broken Sky City glanced at the city lord. He could not make the decision on this matter. If it's 90 points, then his score will be the same as yours. 280 points. However, it's not like it's 90 points just because you said so. As the city lord of Broken Sky City spoke, Yi Xian turned his head to look at Yi Xian and said, "Young man, what do you think?" "Since someone has doubts, then I'll test it again." Yi Xian replied casually. 91 points, yet it was said to be 90 points. He was drunk. Therefore, this time he decided to give 2 or 3 more points. This way, Yi Tian would not have any objections. The attack power test is not very convincing. Why don't we fight? If you win, you'll be first. Yi Tian was a little flustered and exasperated, so he said such brainless words. When the surrounding people heard this, they cursed in their hearts. Chapter 1405. At this moment, the faces of the people from the Profound Heaven sect were a little red. It was amazing that the eldest senior brother of the Profound Heaven sect could be so thick-skinned. The city lord of Broken Sky City held back his laughter and turned to ask Yi Xian, "What do you think?" This battle was destined to be unfair, but he felt that Yi Xian was not that simple, so he asked this question. When almost everyone thought that Yi Xian would not agree, Yi Xian answered very casually, "It doesn't matter, let's fight." Yi Xian shrugged his shoulders. What? This answer shocked everyone. Yi Xian actually agreed. What kind of joke was this? Yi Xian was the #1 genius of the Profound Heaven sect, a 9th-level Nirvana realm martial artist. Actually, when Yi Tian said that he wanted to challenge Yi Xian, he was already regretting it. However, he didn't expect Yi Xian to actually agree. "You're courting death," Yi Tian shouted in a low voice. "It's not certain who will die in the end." Yi Xian answered confidently. Yi Xian was too lazy to use his Eye of Soul on such a person. It was not worth it. The best way was to teach him a lesson and let him know the immensity of heaven and earth. "Since you agree, then let's fight. Whoever wins will get the Crimson Blood Flame, ranked 84th on the Exceptional Flame list," said the City Lord of Broken Sky City. Hearing this, the surrounding testers also jumped out of the ring tactfully. Even the City Lord of Broken Sky City did the same. Then, they raised the protective formation around the ring. What's considered winning? At this moment, Yi Xian suddenly asked. "Go ahead, I'll judge later," said the City Lord of Broken Sky City. "All right." Yi Xian nodded and slowly walked to the other side with the Crimson Flame Sword in his hand. Everyone in the audience began to hold their breaths in concentration. Yi Xian dared to accept the battle, which meant that he had a certain degree of confidence. After all, ordinary people would not dare to gamble with the Crimson Blood Flame. If Yi Tian won, it would be reasonable. If Yi Xian were to win, then that would be awesome. Yi Tian, whom the Profound Heaven sect had painstakingly nurtured, couldn't even beat Yi Xian, whom he had worked so hard for. How could he still have the face to live in this world? I don't know where this brat gets his courage from, but he actually dares to accept the challenge. Yi Tian was very unhappy because he was actually looked down upon by Yi Xian. Intolerable. Begin. Seeing that the two of them were almost done with their preparations, Broken Sky City's chief steward also shouted loudly. The battle had begun. One was at the 9th level of the Nirvana realm while the other was at the 8th level of the Nirvana realm. Due to the superiority of their realms, Yi Tian was slightly magnanimous. "You're one realm lower than me, so I'll give you 3 moves. No, 5 moves." Yi Tian said generously. "I'll give you 10 moves." Yi Xian suddenly retorted. "What?" Yi Tian suspected that he had misheard. Wasn't this Yi Xian a little too savage? He actually gave him 10 moves. "All right, since you're courting death, then don't blame me." Yi Tian's eyes flickered, mixed with a trace of killing intent. Yi Xian's aptitude had already surpassed his. If he were to enter the Profound Heaven sect, then he would be completely suppressed. At that time, who would remember him, Yi Tian? Moreover, in order to prevent the other 2 powers from obtaining the treasure, he had decided to kill Yi Xian. Yi Xian, who possessed the bloodline of the god of slaughter, was very sensitive to killing intent. He had already sensed that Yi Tian had already made a move to kill him. For those who wanted to kill him, Yi Xian didn't care what kind of background they had. All of them would be killed. "Die, brat!" Yi Tian instantly exploded and fiercely stabbed his sword towards Yi Xian. This attack was the same one he used to attack the mysterious spirit giant tortoise's shell. No one expected Yi Tian to use such a big move right from the start. It seemed like he wanted to instantly kill Yi Xian. This bastard! The City Lord of Broken Sky City suddenly sat up straight. He didn't expect Yi Tian to be so bold. Not to mention that both he and the sect leader of the North Wind Mountain thought highly of Yi Xian. Even the sect leader of the Profound Heaven sect wanted to accept Yi Xian as his disciple. However, Yi Tian's attack speed was extremely fast. Even if they were at the 2nd level of the immortality stage, they wouldn't be able to reach the stage in time. This bastard! The sect leader of the Profound Heaven sect shouted in his heart. He knew Yi Tian's attack power. This attack was enough to threaten the immortality stage, not to mention Yi Xian, who was at the 8th level of the Nirvana stage. It seemed like a prodigy was going to fall. Indeed, a prodigy was going to fall, but it definitely wouldn't be Yi Xian. "You're not qualified to kill me." Yi Xian's eyes flickered as he directly slashed his sword. Killing intent explosion. Unparalleled flaming dragon slash. Yi Xian didn't need to use the unparalleled flaming dragon slash to deal with Yi Tian, who wasn't even at the immortality stage. A golden flaming dragon swept out and collided with the sword light. Whoosh! The sword light was instantly incinerated by Yi Xian's golden flaming dragon. At the same time, the shocked Yi Tian was also engulfed by the golden flaming dragon. Yi Xian's attack speed was even faster than Yi Tian's. Tin! The sect leader of the Profound Heaven sect, Yi Teng, widened his eyes when he saw this. Not only that, but so did the people around him. Just now, Yi Xian scored 91 points in the attack power test, but Yi Tian scored 95 points in the attack power test. Now, Yi Xian's attack easily defeated Yi Tian's attack. This meant that Yi Xian's attack power had exceeded 95 points and even reached 100 points. 100 points of attack power. This was an attack that could penetrate the mysterious spirit tortoise's shell. How could a mere 8th level Nirvana stage achieve this? Impossible. While everyone was still in shock, the golden flaming dragon had already disappeared without a trace. At the same time, Yi Tian's figure also disappeared. Only Yi Xian was left on the battlefield, along with his interspatial ring and weapons scattered on the ground. This weapon was Yi Tian's. Ding! Host's killing intent has increased. A system notification sounded out, representing that Yi Tian had really been insta-killed by Yi Xian. Under everyone's astonished gaze, Yi Xian swiftly swept over and put away the young sect leader of the Profound Heaven sect, Yi Tian's interspatial ring and weapon. Oh, there are quite a lot of things. Yi Xian's lips curled up slightly. He was already used to killing geniuses in an instant. Not to mention a 9th level Nirvana stage martial artist. Even an immortality stage martial artist would not be able to withstand such an attack if they did not burn their life force. Only Yi Xian was left on the battlefield. Everyone below the battlefield was shocked. Instant kill, there was actually an instant kill. Yi Xian deserved to be number 1. However, after killing the young sect leader of the Profound Heaven sect, did Yi Xian still want to live? When the sect leader of the Profound Heaven sect saw that his son had turned into ashes, his eyes were instantly filled with tears. He could not care less as he roared and immediately charged into the arena. Oh no! The expressions of the Broken Sky City's governor and the sect leader of the North Wind Mountain changed drastically. One should know that the sect leader of the Profound Heaven sect, Yi Tang, was at immortality stage 2. If he wanted to kill Yi Xian, it would be a piece of cake. Chapter 1406. Yi Tang, have mercy! The governor of Broken Sky City hurriedly shouted. Unfortunately, it was too late. Yi Tang had already made his move. However, before that, Yi Xian had already made his move. I heard that the Crimson Blood Fire was given out by the Profound Heaven sect? Yi Xian narrowed his eyes and suddenly made his move when Yi Tang charged into the arena. Burst of killing intent. Unparalleled Flaming Dragon Slash. This attack was much more powerful than the one that killed Yi Tian because Yi Xian had already exchanged for an 8th level Nirvana Realm Burning Sky Pill. Whoosh! Whoosh! The giant golden flaming dragon roared out. Kid, I want you dead. Yi Tang, the sect leader of the Profound Heaven sect, shouted. This time, he attacked with all his might and did not burn his life to increase his vital energy because Yi Xian was only an 8th level Nirvana Realm martial artist. Using all his strength to deal with a junior was already unacceptable. How could he burn his life? However, it was precisely because of this that he suffered a great loss in this confrontation. Rumble! The giant golden flaming dragon and the sect leader of the Profound Heaven sect clashed. After a moment of shock, Yi Xian actually gained the upper hand. The golden flaming dragon attacked the sect leader of the Profound Heaven sect, which shocked him. His attack was actually inferior to Yi Xian's. How was that possible? Bang! The sect leader of the Profound Heaven sect was sent flying and crashed into the defensive formation. However, this was not the end. Whoosh! When the golden flaming dragon dissipated, a golden slash struck out. With a crisp sound, the sect leader of the Profound Heaven sect's left hand was chopped off. There was an interspatial ring on his left hand. The sect leader of the Profound Heaven sect felt pain in his head. This proved that everything was real and not an illusion. He, an Immortality Realm Level 2 expert, had his hand chopped off by a junior. Was this really not an illusion? Everyone present was so shocked that they were speechless. They stood rooted to the ground like statues. Just a moment ago, the sect leader of the Profound Heaven sect, Yi Tang, was prepared to accept Yi Xian as his disciple. But now, Yi Xian had actually chopped off his arm. The contrast was so great that it was hard for everyone to accept. By the time the sect master of the Profound Heaven sect reacted, his severed arm had already fallen into the hands of Yi Xian. Coincidentally, Yi Xian had taken off his interspatial ring. There was indeed a crimson blood fire in the interspatial ring, which was exactly what Yi Xian needed. Ding! The host has devoured the scarlet blood fire. Ding! Host has broken through to the 9th level of the Nirvana stage. Ding! The host has completed the special leveling up mission. The reward is the Immortal Divine Phoenix Bloodline's rebirth from the Ashes advancement once. 3 system notifications sounded in succession. Yi Xian had finally broken through to the 9th level of the Rebirth Realm, and then he swiftly devoured and broke through to the peak of the 9th level of the Rebirth Realm. His strength had increased exponentially. Not bad, rising from the ashes has actually evolved once. Its recovery ability has become even stronger. Yi Xian was very satisfied. Currently, the Immortal Divine Phoenix Bloodline was shared with the 3 treasures. Since rising from the ashes had evolved, all 3 treasures would be upgraded. The Scarlet Bloodfire was the reward for the first place of the Longevity Grand Meet. However, since he had instantly killed the second place Yi Tian, he was naturally the first place. Therefore, the Scarlet Bloodfire originally belonged to him. As for the other treasures, they were merely things that he had snatched, so they still belonged to him. At this moment, the sect master of the Profound Heaven sect, Yi Tang, was looking at Yi Xian in shock. He had broken through while fighting? Or could it be that Yi Xian was originally at the 9th level of the Nirvana stage? The aura of the peak of the 9th level of the Nirvana stage. This kid actually suppressed his cultivation level? Outside the arena, the City Lord of Broken Sky City and the sect master of Mount Beifeng looked on in shock. However, after thinking about it, they felt that it was not very possible. The first round of the Longevity Grand Meet was to test one's cultivation level and age. Even they could not fake the test crystal, let alone Yi Xian. Moreover, under the watchful eyes of so many powerhouses, it was impossible for Yi Xian to conceal his cultivation level. In other words, Yi Xian had broken through on the spot. However, it was not that easy to break through from the peak of the 8th level of the Nirvana stage to the 9th level of the Nirvana stage, let alone all the way to the peak of the 9th level of the Nirvana stage. Is this kid still human? Many people thought so in their hearts. Sect Master Yi, do you know why I rejected him? Yi Xian said with a smile on his face. Just now, when the sect master of the Profound Heaven sect wanted to take him as a disciple, Yi Xian wanted to wait until after the Longevity Grand Meet. The surrounding people thought that Yi Xian wanted to use this opportunity to gain more attention. Now, it seemed that this was not the case. As an 8th level Nirvana stage martial artist, he injured a 2nd level Longevity stage martial artist. Now that he had broken through to the peak of the 9th level of the Nirvana stage, it was hard to say whether the sect master of the Profound Heaven sect could defeat Yi Xian. Take him as a disciple? What a joke! Who exactly are you? The sect master of the Profound Heaven sect shouted in a low voice. It was impossible for someone with such talent to not belong to any sect. Therefore, he guessed that Yi Xian must be from a sect that was stronger than the Profound Heaven sect. Why do you care what I say? Yi Xian could not be bothered to talk nonsense with the sect master. He said, the Crimson Bloodfire is the reward for the first place, so I'll accept it. As for the rest, I'll take it as compensation for offending me. After he finished speaking, he turned around and left. I don't care who you are. Since you dared to kill my son, don't think that you can leave this place alive. The sect master of the Profound Heaven sect said furiously. This time, he was going to do it for real. At the same time, everyone from the Profound Heaven sect took out their weapons and stood on the same side as the sect master of the Profound Heaven sect. If that's the case, I'll slaughter the entire Profound Heaven sect. Come on up if you dare. Yi Xian stopped in his tracks and said coldly. Immediately after, 4 elders from the Profound Heaven sect rushed out from the Profound Heaven sect's camp, including the formation expert who set up the Ichthyosaur illusory formation. 4 of them were at Immortality Realm Level 1 and 1 was at Immortality Realm Level 2. Now, Yi Xian could not escape. Governor. When the Broken Sky City's general manager saw the situation, he could not help but turn to look at the Broken Sky City's governor. Yi Xian seemed to have a strong background. If he died in his Broken Sky City, what if the force behind Yi Xian came to kill him? Let's wait and see. The Broken Sky City's governor said calmly. He felt that Yi Xian would not die so easily. Even if his opponents were 5 powerhouses who were at a higher level than him, Yi Xian did not show any signs of nervousness. It was obvious that he had a trump card. On the other side, the sect master of the North Wind Mountains saw that the Broken Sky City's governor had no intention of making a move, so he did not plan to make a move either. Now that this matter had nothing to do with them, they didn't want to get involved. Kill. As the sect master of the Profound Heaven sect shouted, the few people in the arena made their moves together. At the same time, the sect master of the Profound Heaven sect also charged toward Yi Xian without any hesitation. However, what surprised everyone was that the 4 elders of the Profound Heaven sect were not attacking Yi Xian, but the sect master of the Profound Heaven sect. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The wind suddenly blew. The sect master of the Profound Heaven sect was shocked. He did not expect the 4 elders to attack him. How was this possible? Chapter 1407. Bam, 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 bam. The sect leader of the mysterious Heaven sect spat out a mouthful of blood after being hit by the 4 of them. Fortunately, he had burned his lifespan to block the attack. Otherwise, he would have been a corpse by now. He couldn't figure out why the 4 of them attacked him. But now there was no time to think about this question, because Yi Xian had already killed his way to his back. Eye of Assassination. Mysterious Heaven Sword Technique. Swish! With a crisp sound, the sect leader of the mysterious Heaven sect was suddenly beheaded. The first attack after the Eye of Assassination had a 30% increase in attack power. The mysterious Heaven Sword Technique was a longevity divine ability, so its attack power was not weak. It was very good for close-range assassination. Ding! Host's killing intent has increased. In the blink of an eye, the sect leader of the mysterious Heaven sect had fallen. When his body fell to the ground with a plop, the rest of the people had yet to react. Some of them were still thinking about why the 4 elders of the mysterious Heaven sect would sneak attack the sect leader. The sect leader of the mysterious Heaven sect, who was at level 2 of the immortality realm, died just like that? Although Yi Xian didn't lack cultivation resources, what he lacked was the mysterious flame. However, the killing intent of a level 2 immortality realm expert was still very high. Since the other party had come to die, why wouldn't Yi Xian take them? Not only that, but Yi Xian would also take the lives of the 4 elders. Hiss, 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 hiss. 4 crisp sounds were heard in succession as 4 heads were tossed up one after another. What was even more surprising was that the 4 elders didn't die at the hands of Yi Xian. They committed suicide. Then, their interspatial rings fell into Yi Xian's hands. The good stuff in the interspatial rings was instantly sucked into the devouring space. This time, the mysterious Heaven sect only sent 5 immortality realm experts. But now, all of them had fallen. After seeing this, the people from Broken Sky City and Mount Bay Foam couldn't help but tremble. Their strength was similar to the mysterious Heaven sect. If it were them this time, perhaps. The young city lord of Broken Sky City also subconsciously swallowed his saliva. This was the first time he felt that 3rd place was pretty good. Just as the entire place was silent, Yi Xian suddenly turned his head and looked at the city lord of Broken Sky City. This made the city lord shudder. Duan Kong City Lord, where did you get this mysterious spirit giant tortoise's shell? Yi Xian could not help but ask. The shell of the Xianling giant turtle? This question fell into the ears of everyone present. They couldn't understand why Yi Xian would ask such a question at such an occasion and at such a time. This is what I got from Turtle Ridge Mountain. The Broken Sky City City Lord answered honestly. The Tortoise Ridge Mountain is to the northeast of Broken Sky City. There are many profound spirit giant turtles there. I see. Thank you. Yi Xian cupped his fists in gratitude and then jumped off the stage. Wow, young master, you're so handsome. Seeing Yi Xian coming down, Luo Luo also waved her little fists. Just now, she was ready to rush up to help. However, Yi Xian solved the problem in the blink of an eye. Come, let's go to Turtle Ridge Mountain. Yi Xian said to Luo Luo. There were many profound spirit giant turtles in Turtle Ridge Mountain. This was Yi Xian's target. After breaking through to the peak of the 9th level of the Nirvana realm, Yi Xian knew the name of the last heavenly flame, the Turtle Spirit Earthfire. The Turtle Spirit Earthfire was ranked 81st on the Heavenly Flame list. It was usually born in the body of a heavenly tortoise. This time, he wanted to go to Turtle Ridge Mountain to see if the Turtle Spirit Earthfire was born in the body of a profound spirit giant turtle. As long as he could obtain the Turtle Spirit Earthfire, he could smoothly break through to the immortality realm. Not only that, Luo Luo and the old tree could also break through one after another. Yi Xian had just obtained the Crimson Bloodfire and he received news of the Turtle Spirit Earthfire. He was considered lucky. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Yi Xian brought Luo Luo and the old tree out of Broken Sky City and headed towards the northeast. At the same time in the mysterious heaven sect. Grand Elder, this is bad. A managing elder of the Jade Tablet of Life Ancestral Hall rushed into a bamboo forest behind the profound heaven sect. Elder Yuan, why are you in such a hurry? A white-robed elder walked out in surprise. The 4 Jade Tablets of Life of the sect leader and the 4 elders have all shattered. The elder in charge of the Jade Tablet of Life reported in horror. What? Hearing this, the white-robed elder opened his eyes wide. The sect leader of the mysterious heaven sect was his grandson. He was at LV2 of the immortality realm. How could he die? Not only that, but the 4 elders who were at LV1 of the immortality realm were also in the same situation. They brought people to Broken Sky City to participate in the longevity grand ceremony. How could they die? The white-robed elder was shocked. At this moment, if Yi Xian was here, he would definitely recognize this white-robed elder. He was the expert who almost captured him that day. At the same time, he was also the escort of the Xianming duo demons. At this moment, the white-robed elder quickly left the mysterious heaven sect and headed towards Broken Sky City. He felt that something had happened in Broken Sky City. Perhaps, the governor's mansion of Broken Sky City and Mount Beifeng joined forces and killed the people of the mysterious heaven sect. If that was the case, he would definitely teach the people of Broken Sky City and Mount Beifeng a lesson. After half a day, he arrived at the governor's mansion of Broken Sky City. Duan Chong, get out here! The white-robed elder stood in the sky above the governor's mansion and shouted angrily. When he arrived, an elder flew out of the governor's mansion. He was the previous governor of Broken Sky City, the Duan Chong that the white-robed elder mentioned. He was at LV3 of the immortality realm. Duan Chong, how dare you? Before the white-robed elder could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Duan Chong. Yuan, look at this scryer recording and you will know. Duan Chong did not say anything and threw a scryer recording crystal over. This was a scryer recording that someone had recorded half a day ago, from the beginning to the end. Yuan took the scryer recording crystal and looked at it in surprise. He did not understand why Duan Chong showed him this, but he understood after watching it for a while. What? It's this guy? Yuan raised his eyebrows. He recognized it. He recognized Yi Xian. This was the guy who had killed his great-grandson Yi Tian and grandson Yi Teng. He was the guy who had killed himself and turned into ashes. At the same time, he was the person that the Xianming duo demons were looking for. Although Yi Xian's face was different, he had used the peerless flame dragon slash. It was him. The Xianming duo demons had said that Yi Xian was cunning and knew how to disguise himself. However, the only thing that did not change was the peerless flame dragon slash. After Mo Xue's death, no one else knew the peerless flame dragon slash. Therefore, Yuan was sure that this was Yi Xian. He did not expect Yi Xian to come knocking on his door and kill the people from the mysterious heaven sect. Could it be revenge? Yuan could not help but think. Chapter 1408. However, what Yuan did not expect was that Yi Xian did not know that he was the old sect leader of the mysterious heaven sect. It was purely an accident that he killed Yi Tian, Yi Teng and the 4 elders of the mysterious heaven sect. The floating image crystal recorded Yi Xian's departure, including when Yi Xian asked the governor about the mysterious spiritual tortoise's shell. Tortoise Mountain. Yuan squinted his eyes, turned around and left. He then entered the underworld of Broken Sky City. The Xianming duo had instructed them to inform the elites in the underworld as soon as there was news about Yi Xian. At that moment, Yi Xian was on his way to Tortoise Mountain. After about a day, he finally arrived at Tortoise Mountain. I heard that there are many immortal-level mysterious spiritual tortoises in Tortoise Mountain. However, as the mysterious spiritual tortoises have a strong defense, it is very difficult to kill them once they hide in their shell. That's why not many people come here. Yi Xian thought to himself. It was rare for him to kill a heaven-reaching beast. Most of the time he would just kill them. However, he had no choice but to do it himself this time. If it was an ordinary person, it would not be easy for them to find the earth fire. However, Yi Xian had the eye of revelation. He could see through the mysterious spiritual tortoise's body. Hence, it was not difficult for him to find it. Besides, he had a few helpers, Luo, the old tree and Wei Zhentian who had broken through to immortal level. They immediately entered Tortoise Mountain. Along the way, he saw many mysterious spiritual tortoises. However, most of them were at nirvana level. However, Yi Xian did not let the mysterious spiritual tortoises go. He killed all of them and kept them in his plant space. Under normal circumstances, the higher the rank of the mysterious spiritual tortoise, the higher the probability of the earth fire being born in its body. Hence, Yi Xian focused on the immortal level mysterious spiritual tortoises. Found it! In the first hour that Yi Xian entered Tortoise Mountain, he finally saw the first immortal level mysterious spiritual tortoise. Although the mysterious spiritual tortoise did not have the earth fire in its body, it was still a treasure. The profound spirit giant tortoise was special. Its shell could cover all of its flesh and blood. Once it shrunk into the shell, it would be troublesome. Relying on the eye of revelation, Yi Xian was able to see from afar. Killing intent explosion. Mysterious heaven sword art. Swish! A ray of sword light whizzed past and instantly pierced through the head of the mysterious spirit tortoise. Then, it pierced through its entire body. This attack had crushed all the organs in the mysterious spirit tortoise's body, including its heart. Instant kill. Ding. Host's killing intent has increased. When the system notification rang out, Yi Xian quickly rushed over and put away the corpse. The heaven-reaching beast's corpse was nothing much. What was valuable was the beast's soul, which was several times more valuable than the corpse. However, right at that moment, ding! Host's killing intent has increased. Another system notification sounded. Yi Xian didn't kill any heaven-reaching beasts, so it must have been Luo Luo and the others who killed it. Luo Luo's ability was not weak. On the other hand, Wei Zhentian and the old tree were immortal. Therefore, Yi Xian didn't have to worry about them taking action on their own. Yi Xian continued to go deeper into the Tortoise Mountain. Since there were so many mysterious spirit tortoises, there should be a king. This king was most likely to be the one that could produce the turtle spirit earthfire. Yi Xian estimated that the mysterious spirit tortoise king was at least on immortal level 3. After a while, Master, come quickly. I've encountered a level 2 immortal level tortoise. Luo Luo suddenly said. Upon hearing this, Yi Xian immediately rushed over based on his ability to sense the tortoise. A level 2 immortal level mysterious spirit tortoise might have the turtle spirit earthfire in its body. However, he was overthinking. The mysterious spirit tortoise that Luo Luo encountered, Su Rian, was at level 2 immortal level. However, it did not have the turtle spirit earthfire in its body. The mysterious spirit tortoise was more than 30 meters long. It was huge like a small mountain. Yi Xian came next to Luo Luo. After observing for a while, he decided to attack. This mysterious spirit tortoise can release shockwaves when it opens its mouth. Be careful. We must kill it before it hides into its shell, Yi Xian said to Luo Luo. All right. Luo Luo nodded. Then, the two of them immediately dashed out. Release of killing intent. Unparalleled flaming dragon slash. Yi Xian had already exchanged for the burning sky pill. He raised his hand and launched his most powerful attack. Although the twin dragon roar of the ice and fire twin dragon sword formation was powerful, Yi Xian no longer used it when the unparalleled flaming dragon slash was upgraded to the unparalleled flaming dragon slash. Firstly, the attack was not as powerful as the unparalleled flaming dragon slash. Moreover, he had to clone himself. The combat power of both him and his clone would be reduced by 60%. A huge golden flame dragon roared out. The mysterious spirit giant tortoise also sensed the danger and opened its bloody mouth. Bang! An invisible force swept out and collided with the golden flaming dragon. Suddenly, there was a strong shockwave. At the same time, Luo Luo increased her speed with the 9 reincarnation flash. 9 reincarnation flash. First flash. 9 reincarnation flash. Second flash. 9 reincarnation flash. Third flash. 9 reincarnation flash. Fourth flash. When it was the fourth flash, the petite Luo Luo had already arrived beside the mysterious spirit tortoise's head. Then, it was the fifth flash of the 9 reincarnation flash. Swish! Before the mysterious spirit tortoise could react, it heard a crisp sound and its neck was almost cut off. Fortunately, it was not killed because of its huge body. Otherwise, its head would have fallen to the ground. It's not powerful enough. Luo Luo was helpless. The 9 flash of reincarnation relied on the sharpness of its movement to attack. However, the profound spirit tortoise relied on its defense. Even if it didn't hide in its shell, its scales and flesh defense were not weak. Although it did not manage to kill the mysterious spirit tortoise, it was enough. Wei Zhentian, who was on level 1 of the immortality level, had turned into a gigantic spike and pierced through the air. Swish! The gigantic spike that Wei Zhentian had turned into pierced through the mysterious spirit tortoise's neck from the wound that Luo Luo had created. Now, the mysterious spirit tortoise could not hide even if it wanted to. Wei Zhentian, well done. Yi Xian complimented. He immediately went around the mysterious spirit tortoise's head and attacked it from the side. Release of killing intent. Unparalleled flaming dragon slash. A gigantic golden flaming dragon struck the mysterious spirit tortoise's head from the side. Although the mysterious spirit tortoise's scales were strong, it could not withstand such a high-temperature flame. In an instant, the mysterious spirit tortoise's scales were burned and blood flowed like a river. Roar! The mysterious spirit tortoise was in pain. It opened its mouth and roared into the sky. It even started to attack with shockwaves. Unfortunately, its head was fixed in place and could not move, so its attacks all missed without exception. Again! Yi Xian's eyes lit up and he continued to attack. Chapter 1409. Release of killing intent. Unparalleled flaming dragon slash. Another golden dragon struck the profound spirit giant tortoise's head. This time, the tortoise's entire head was burnt to a crisp. Although its scales were strong, its flesh and blood were not strong. Once its scales were broken, the mysterious spirit tortoise would not be far from death. At that moment, the mysterious spirit tortoise's brain was burnt to a crisp. Ding! The killing intent of the host has increased. After the system notification rang out, Yi Xian immediately rushed over and kept the mysterious spirit tortoise's body. Although he had yet to break through to immortal level, he could already kill a level 2 immortal level powerhouse. Killing a level 2 immortal level defensive heavenly beast was nothing to him. What he was worried about was whether he could break through the defense of the level 3 mysterious spirit tortoise. If he could not, he would be in trouble. However, at that moment, a figure suddenly arrived at Turtle Ridge Mountain. It was a man in black. He was holding a black sword in his hand. Although he looked like a middle-aged man, he was actually more than 1,000 years old. His name was He Ming. He was a level 3 immortal level assassin in hell. Initially, he had already retired. However, there was a mission that made him waver. Hence, he decided to come back. The mission was to capture Yi Xian at Tortoise Mountain. The reward for capturing a level 9 Nirvana level brat is so generous. I have to capture this brat before anyone else does. He Ming said as he rushed into Tortoise Mountain. Coincidentally, there were some footprints at the entrance of Tortoise Mountain. He took a look and chased after Yi Xian. The footprints were left by Yi Xian. Along the way, he had killed many heavenly beasts. Hence, He Ming was able to catch up with him easily. At that moment, Yi Xian did not know that he was in danger. He was still looking for the mysterious spirit tortoise king. Perhaps it was because of the mysterious spirit tortoise. The mysterious spirit tortoise king that he was looking for jumped out on its own. Could it be that the mysterious spirit tortoise king is the mysterious spirit tortoise king's child? Yi Xian stared at the mountain-like Xianling turtle king in front of him, and his heart trembled. When one's bloodline reached the immortal realm, its effect would be fully displayed. When its child died, the mysterious spirit turtle king, who was nearby, immediately knew. The profound spirit turtle king was originally in a deep sleep, but after the death of its child, it immediately woke up. It just so happened that the person who killed his child was nearby. Roar! The Xianling turtle king did not say anything. It opened its mouth and blasted a shockwave at Yi Xian. Shadow step. Yi Xian dodged the shockwave in a flash. This shockwave had the power to destroy the heavens and earth. It could probably split the Bloodrock continent in half. Even if Yi Xian was hit, he would be smashed to pieces. The mysterious spirit tortoise king was an immortal realm level 3 Tong Tian beast, which was 3 levels higher than Yi Xian. Therefore, even with the Eye of Revelation, Yi Xian could not see through it. Therefore, only by killing it, would he know if it had the turtle spirit earth fire in its body. Wei Zhentian, Luo Luo, come on! Yi Xian shouted in a low voice and directly attacked. Killing intent explosion. Flaming dragon slash. 9 flashes of reincarnation. Previously, They had come up with a strategy to deal with the mysterious Spirit Tortoise King. They had used this strategy to kill the mysterious Spirit Tortoise King's son. Now, the same strategy was used on the mysterious Spirit Tortoise King. However, they did not know if it would work. The mysterious Spirit Tortoise King was very angry. It did not dodge and took Yi Xian's attack head-on. Rumble! The gigantic golden flaming dragon hit the mysterious Spirit Tortoise King's head. However, it was blocked by its scales and did not hurt it at all. Now, Yi Xian could confirm that the turtle spirit Earthfire was in the mysterious Spirit Tortoise King's body. Even if it was an Immortal Realm Level 3 mysterious Spirit Tortoise, it would not be able to survive Yi Xian's flaming dragon slash. Now that the mysterious Spirit Tortoise King had blocked the attack, it proved that it was resistant to fire. Therefore, there must be a type of fire in its body. It was not the Thousand Beast Fire but the Turtle Spirit Earth Fire. Haha, I've finally found it. I'm going to kill you. Yi Xian laughed in his heart. Although the flaming dragon slash could not break through its defense, he still had other methods. Whoosh! The Annihilation Slash, hidden within the matchless dragon slash, struck the mysterious Spirit Turtle King's scales. Immediately, the Annihilation Slash's ability took effect, and a few pieces of the mysterious Spirit Turtle King's scales were disintegrated. Although the fire was useless, the Destruction Slash was useful. Unfortunately, the Destruction Slash could not be combined with the Destruction Slash. Otherwise, Yi Xian's attack would be extremely powerful. Reincarnation Flash. Fifth Flash. Luo Luo also attacked the wound. With a slash, the wound was enlarged. Not only that, Wei Zhentian turned into a thin needle and penetrated the mysterious Spirit Tortoise King's body. Ouch! The mysterious Spirit Tortoise King screamed in pain. Although its external defense was strong, its internal defense was not that strong. Wei Zhentian, who was on Immortal Realm Level 1, was enough to destroy it. It seemed like the battle was about to end. Wei Zhentian could transform into many forms. He could turn into a mountain or a thin needle. Since the mysterious Spirit Tortoise King was so huge, it did not notice the thin needle in its body at first. However, as soon as Wei Zhentian entered its body, it suddenly enlarged and turned into a sea urchin and started to jump around. Suddenly, the mysterious Spirit Tortoise King's body was filled with holes and blood flowed out like a river. Without needing to attack, the mysterious Spirit Tortoise King would be killed by Wei Zhentian. Ouch! The mysterious Spirit Tortoise King roared into the sky. Its body trembled but it could not do anything to Wei Zhentian. However, at this moment, a powerful aura suddenly entered Yi Xian's perception range. Immortal Realm Level 3? Yi Xian raised his eyebrow. He did not expect to see an Immortal Realm Level 3 on Tortoise Mountain. Was this person just passing by or did he come here specifically for him? Even if he was just passing by, he would not just leave when he saw the mysterious Spirit Tortoise King struggling. I don't care who you are. If you want to die, I don't mind sending you on your way. Yi Xian squinted his eyes. At the same time, he ordered Wei Zhentian to bring the Tortoise Earth Fire out. Soon, the aura of the Immortal Realm Level 3 entered Yi Xian's vision. It was a middle-aged man in a black shirt. Found him. Black Life raised his eyebrow when he saw Yi Xian. According to the mission description, Yi Xian had many tricks up his sleeves. He was also good at disguising himself. At the same time, he might have a sword that could change forms and a little fox girl. Chapter 14:10. Oh. Mysterious Spirit Tortoise King? Black Life raised his eyebrows. He did not expect Yi Xian to be able to injure the mysterious Spirit Tortoise King, who was at Immortal Level 3. After all, he could only barely break through the mysterious Spirit Tortoise King's defense. It seemed like this kid was not that simple. Are you an assassin from the underworld? Yi Xian could not help but ask when he saw the person. According to his previous experience, this person was most likely an assassin as the murderous aura was too strong. That's right. I'm here to capture you. Black Life did not hide anything. If that's the case, why aren't you attacking? Yi Xian raised his eyebrows. Immortal Level 3 was 3 realms higher than him. However, when he was at Level 8 Nirvana Realm, didn't he injure the sect leader of the mysterious Heaven sect who was at Level 2 Immortal Level? 3 realms was nothing. On the other hand, if Yi Xian broke through to the Immortal Level, Black Life would not be able to withstand more than 10 or even 5 moves from Yi Xian. To be on the safe side, Yi Xian asked Wei Zhentian to be faster. Black Life glanced at the mysterious spirit tortoise king and said, I'm at immortal level 3. If I attack a Nirvana Realm Junior like you, it will damage my reputation. I'll give you a chance. If you follow me willingly, I might let you live a better life. He was thinking that if Yi Xian resisted, he would chop off Yi Xian's limbs and take him away. After all, the mission only required him to be alive. There was no rule that stated that he could not be crippled. Cut the crap. Yi Xian interrupted him. Humph. Black Life snorted and said, since you don't know how to cherish this opportunity, then I. Before he could finish his sentence, Wei Zhentian came out of the mysterious spirit tortoise king's body. The light from the fire shone on their faces. The turtle earthly fire was ranked 81 on the exceptional fire list. It looked like a tortoise. If Wei Zhentian did not share the immortal phoenix bloodline, it would have been melted by the turtle earthly fire. When the turtle spirit earth fire appeared, even Black Life was shocked. Who would have thought that this Xianling Turtle King would have the turtle spirit earth fire? Not only would he be able to complete the mission, but he would also be able to obtain a Xianling Turtle King's body. Most importantly, he would also be able to obtain a turtle spirit earth fire. What a stroke of luck! However, under Black Ming's greedy eyes, Wei Zhentian sent the turtle spirit earth fire to Yi Xian. Yi Xian slightly curved up his mouth corners and took back the turtle spirit earth fire. I'll give you one more chance. Give me the turtle spirit earth fire, and I'll bring you back to the netherworld in one piece. Said Black Life again. Experts had their own pride, and asking him to make a move against a 9th level rebirth stage junior was truly a slight loss of face. If you want the turtle earth fire, come and get it yourself, said Yi Xian smilingly. The heart of the Xianling Turtle King had already been crushed by Wei Zhentian. In other words, it was already dead and no longer posed a threat to Yi Xian. Now that Yi Xian had obtained the turtle spirit earth fire, he would be able to break through to the immortality stage soon. However, Yi Xian only hid the turtle spirit earth fire in the devouring space and did not intend to devour it. In the eyes of the middle-aged man in black, he was only a 9th level Nirvana stage martial artist, and there was nothing to be afraid of. However, if he suddenly broke through to the immortality stage, things would be different. Kid, I gave you 2 chances, but you didn't cherish them. Since that's the case, I can only lower myself and attack you. The middle-aged man in black's eyes flickered, and in an instant, his speed exploded. As an assassin, speed was extremely important. However, as Yi Xian's level was too low, he did not need to launch a sneak attack. However, he would never have thought that Yi Xian had been waiting for him to attack all this while. Ding! Host has devoured the turtle spirit earth fire. Ding! Host has broken through to the 1st level of the immortality stage. Ding! Host has completed the special level up mission. The Eye of Destruction has been upgraded to a passive destruction. These 3 system notifications shocked Yi Xian. The Eye of Destruction had actually been upgraded to a passive destruction. Before the Eye of Destruction, the Eye of Glory had also become a passive glory. When Yi Xian needed to use it, he only needed to activate it. Now, the Eye of Destruction had also become a passive destruction. This meant that his attacks from now on would have the destruction effect. However, this was not the end. Ding! Wei Zhentian has broken through. Currently at the 2nd level of the immortality stage. Ding! Luo has broken through. Currently at the 1st level of the immortality stage. Ding! Devil Tree Battle Soldier has broken through. Currently at the 1st level of the immortality stage. Previously, Yi Xian's 3 targets had been stuck at the 9th level of the Nirvana stage because of his level. Later on, Wei Zhentian broke through the shackles once and could be upgraded to the 1st level of the immortality stage. Now, as Yi Xian broke through to the immortality stage, this shackle was finally broken. You're dead meat. Yi Xian's eyes flickered as he suddenly attacked. Killing Intent Explosion. Unparalleled Flaming Dragon Slash. A huge golden flaming dragon suddenly appeared and roared towards the middle-aged man in black. After receiving the reward, Yi Xian directly activated the Annihilation passive. Now, his true energy had the effect of annihilation. The destruction effect was actually disintegration. It could disintegrate physical body and true qi. This meant that the unparalleled flaming dragon slash was even more powerful. Not only that, after breaking through to the immortality stage, Yi Xian's lifespan increased to 1,000 years. For this attack, He burned 10 years of his lifespan to strengthen his true chi. In addition to the Sword God bloodline, the Immortal Phoenix bloodline, the Burning Sky Pill, and the Turtle Spirit Earthfire, the power of this attack was extraordinary. What? The middle-aged man in black was shocked. He felt the power of this golden flaming dragon. It was very powerful. Even he could not release it. How did Yi Xian master it? However, just as he was shocked, the golden flaming dragon had already swallowed him. Then, a system notification sounded. Ding! The host's killing intent has increased. Instant kill. The immortal level 3 middle-aged man in black was instantly killed by Yi Xian. Of course, this was also the middle-aged man in black's own fault for being careless. Besides, Yi Xian's sudden breakthrough to the immortality stage was also beyond his expectations, which led to this mess. Damn! It's so powerful. It's at least 10 times stronger than before. Yi Xian could not help but swallow his saliva. The destruction effect, coupled with the true qi from burning one's lifespan, caused the middle-aged man in black to die without leaving behind a corpse. Fortunately, Yi Xian had already wrapped the middle-aged man in black's cosmos ring with the all-creation's force when the golden flaming dragon swallowed him. Otherwise, the ring would have been disintegrated. Wow, young master, your strength has improved a lot. Luo floated over from afar and said in shock. Of course. Chapter 14:11. As the middle-aged man in black was an assassin, he did not have many items in his Qian Kuan ring. If he died, the items would fall into the hands of others. Even if he hid them, he could not bring them along. Now, Yi Xian had completed 10 specific level-up missions and received 10 rewards in total. It had to be said that this special level-up quest was too awesome. It actually gave Yi Xian 10 rewards. Unfortunately, Immortal level did not trigger any specific level-up mission. Therefore, Yi Xian no longer needed to collect mystical flames to level up. At this moment, Yi Xian glanced at his attribute panel and realized that he had a lifespan of 1,000 years. When had he ever expected to live for 1,000 years? Most people would have hidden diseases in their bodies. However, as he had the Immortal Phoenix bloodline, his body did not have any problems. Therefore, this 1,000 years was a real 1,000 years, unless he encountered an expert and was killed by them. Just as he was thinking about it, a notification came from the system. Ding! You can exchange 500 years of your lifespan for 1 devouring point. Would you like to do so? Upon hearing this, Yi Xian was stunned. 500 years of my lifespan for 1 devouring point? What the F***ck? 500 years of my lifespan for 1 devouring point? I'm only 25 years old now. 1 year is too long for me. Maybe I'll break through to rebirth level in a year's time. 500 years is nothing to me. Yi Xian suddenly thought of this. 500 years sounded like a long time, but it was nothing to him. After all, he had only been here for 12 years. In 12 years, he had broken through to immortal level. Would he be afraid that he would not have enough lifespan in the future? Exchange! At that moment, Yi Xian used 500 years of his lifespan to exchange for 1 devouring point. In addition to the 1 devouring point from before, he now had 2 devouring points. However, he was only left with slightly more than 500 years of lifespan. Ding! The next exchange requires 1,000 years of lifespan. The notification came again. 500 years of lifespan for the first exchange, 1,000 years for the second exchange, 1,500 years for the third exchange? Or 2,000 years? Yi Xian calculated in his heart. ALV1 Immortal Level Expert had a lifespan of about 1,000 years. Every level up would increase their lifespan by 250 years. In other words, a LV9 Immortal Level Expert would have a lifespan of about 3,000 years. If the third exchange was 1,500 years, then it would be exactly 3,000 years. In other words, Yi Xian could be exchanged for about 3 devour points. In my devouring space, I still have more than 100 years worth of immortal spring water. However, immortal level cultivators occasionally have to burn their lifespan to fight. Yi Xian was a little hesitant. If that was the case, he would have 1,000 years of life when he reached immortal level rank 3. By then, he would be able to redeem some devouring points. The devouring point is very useful. It can strengthen my bloodline. If I break through to the rebirth realm in the future, my lifespan will increase. However, An immortal level requires us to burn our lifespan to fight. Sigh, I don't think my lifespan is enough. Yi Xian was in a dilemma. In the end, he decided not to think about it. He would just take one step at a time. After all, he was only on immortal level rank 1. Since he had 2 devour points, Yi Xian planned in his heart where to use these 2 devour points. Forget it. I'll keep them first. If my clone dies again, I can still use them to revive my clone. In the end, Yi Xian decided not to use the 2 devour points. He would keep them first. Now that he had obtained the turtle spirit earthly fire and had broken through to the immortal level, he had to investigate some things. For example, the Shenming duo. Previously, the Lu family had investigated for more than a month, but they did not find anything. However, the old man in white was a clue. Yi Xian estimated that the old man in white was only on immortal level rank 3. Broken Sky City, North Wind Mountain, and Mysterious Heaven Sect. Perhaps he is the patriarch of these 3 organizations. Yi Xian thought to himself. He decided to investigate the 3 organizations that were closest to him. Immediately, he kept the Xianling Turtle King's body. He then broke through the void and returned to Broken Sky City. However, as soon as he returned and was about to inquire about the underworld, his eye of perception detected a familiar aura. It's him! Yi Xian's body trembled as he recognized the aura immediately. This familiar aura belonged to the Shenming duo's escort, the old man in white who had the eye of nature. There is a path to heaven, but you don't want to take it. There is no door to hell, but you barge in. Yi Xian's lips curled up slightly. Nalan Bing still had the death hunting order on her, so he did not have to worry about her. The old man in white was only on immortal level rank 3, so Yi Xian was not afraid of him at all. However, the old man in white was currently a guest in the governor's mansion. There was also an immortal level rank 3 powerhouse and more than 10 immortal level powerhouses in the governor's mansion. Humph, now that I have broken through to immortal level, Luo Luo and the old tree are on immortal level rank 1, and Wei Zhentian is on immortal level rank 2. As long as I ransack the governor's mansion, I should be able to break through to immortal level rank 2. Yi Xian squinted his eyes. After breaking through to immortal level rank 9 from Nirvana, the experience points required to level up had increased tremendously. The treasures that he had saved up previously could not allow him to break through to immortal level rank 2, but with the governor's mansion, it should be enough. He thought to himself as he swaggered into the governor's mansion. His unfamiliar immortal level aura immediately attracted the attention of some people in the governor's mansion. The Broken Sky City's manager immediately rushed over, and when he realized that it was Yi Xian, he was shocked. It's you. The Broken Sky City's manager immediately recognized Yi Xian, but in the next moment, he was controlled by Yi Xian's Eye of Soul. Ding! Control successful. The Broken Sky City's manager was only on immortal level rank 1, and Yi Xian had never failed to control someone of the same level. At this moment, there were 5 immortal level rank 1 auras in the governor's mansion. There were 2 immortal level rank 2 auras, and 2 immortal level rank 3 auras. Initially, there were others who noticed Yi Xian, but the Broken Sky City's manager had already rushed over, and nothing happened, so the others thought that nothing was wrong. Under the Broken Sky City's manager's guidance, Yi Xian controlled all 5 immortal level rank 1 experts, and all their wealth fell into Yi Xian's pocket. If the governor of Broken Sky City is on immortal level rank 2, who's the other immortal level rank 2? Yi Xian suddenly turned his head and asked. It's my father. The Broken Sky City's manager replied. All right, bring me there. Yi Xian nodded. The Broken Sky City's manager's father was the confidant of the Broken Sky City's governor's father. After he retired, he had been guarding the governor's mansion. It had been 100 years, and his realm was on immortal level rank 2. Chapter 14:12. This person had lived for hundreds of years, and his soul strength was not that weak. It would not be easy for Yi Xian to control him in one go. However, even if Yi Xian was exposed, he was not afraid. Soon, the Broken Sky City's general manager found his father. Guaming, why are you looking for me? An old voice came from a mansion. Father, I've brought someone to see you. The general manager of Broken Sky City replied. Come in then. Guaming pushed the door open and entered. Coincidentally, his father Guashang also opened the door and walked out. This is Guoshang looked at Yi Xian in surprise. He had seen all the immortal level powerhouses in the mansion before. Could it be that he was a newly recruited consecrator? Guoming pretended to be mysterious as he approached Guoshang and whispered a few words in his ear. However, when Guoshang let down his guard, Guoming suddenly attacked. Bang! Guoming slapped his father's back with all his might, and the latter was instantly sent flying. Guoshang would never have thought that his own son would sneak attack him. What was going on? Just when he was surprised, Yi Xian's eyes flashed. Solai! Guoshang immediately realized that his son was being controlled by someone else. How dare you! Guoshang shouted angrily, but just as he finished speaking, his throat was choked by a strong hand. If he acted rashly, his head would be gone. Soul Eye! Yi Xian continued to use his Soul Eye while his opponent was still in shock. Ding! Control failed. For the older generation powerhouses, it was still difficult to use Soul Eye. After all, they had lived for hundreds of years, and their soul strength was much stronger than the younger generation. However, no matter how strong the wall was, it would still be blown away by the wind. Ding! Control succeeded. After Yi Xian used Soul Eye for the third time, Guoshang was finally controlled. However, the shout from earlier had also entered the ears of the others. On the other side, the Broken Sky City's governor and the other two could not help but raise their eyebrows. Father, I'll go take a look. The Broken Sky City's governor said to Duan Zhong. Go! Duan Zhong nodded and continued to play chess with the white-robed old man, Yi Wen. The Broken Sky City's city lord recognized that voice. It was Guoshang's voice. He wanted to see who had provoked Guoshang. When he arrived, he found that Guoshang and Guoming were in the courtyard, and there was no one else. That's strange. I sensed an immortal level aura earlier, but it's gone now. Did I sense it wrongly? The city lord of Broken Sky City frowned and asked in surprise, Uncle Shang, who offended you just now? It's nothing, just a servant. Guoshang pretended as if nothing had happened and said, City lord, you came at the right time. There is an urgent matter here. What is it? The Broken Sky City lord did not have any doubts and directly landed in the courtyard. However, just as he let his guard down, a sharp blade suddenly shot out from the ground and pierced through his thigh. Not only that, even Guoshang and Guoming suddenly made their moves. Bang! Broken Sky City's city lord was hit by one or two punches and immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. However, just as he was about to fly out, another person suddenly appeared behind him. Yi Xian. He did not expect that there would be an immortal level powerhouse hiding nearby. Even he, a level 2 immortal level powerhouse, did not notice him. This concealment technique was quite brilliant. He was still astonished when Yi Xian grabbed his throat, causing him to be unable to speak. Soul's Eye! Ding! Control failed. The city lord of Broken Sky City was already over 100 years old, but Yi Xian's first attempt at using Soul's Eye failed. Soul's Eye! Ding! Control succeeded. The city lord of Broken Sky City was also controlled by Yi Xian. The latter did not say anything and took off the city lord's Qian Kuan ring. As a city lord, there were many things in the Qian Kuan ring. These things, together with Yi Xian's accumulation, were enough for a breakthrough. Ding! The host has broken through and is currently at level 2 immortal level. The system notification rang. At the same time, Yi Xian's lifespan had increased by 250 years, which was almost 800 years. The reason why Yi Xian went through the trouble of controlling the city lord instead of killing his way in was because immortal level powerhouses could burn their lifespan to fight. Life was very precious, which was why Yi Xian did not want to waste it. 6 immortal level 1 and 2 immortal level 2. It was a good lineup. Go and call your father over. Yi Xian said to the city lord of Broken Sky City. The city lord's father, Duan Chong, was an immortal level 3 immortal level powerhouse. However, Yi Xian now had the lives of his son and the entire Duan family in his hands. There was a 90% chance that the city lord would choose to surrender. Yes. The city lord of Broken Sky City nodded and drank the blood bottle that Yi Xian passed to him. He then changed his clothes and left. Soon, he returned to the place where Duan Chong and Yi Wen were playing chess. What was that loud noise just now? Duan Chong could not help but ask when he saw his son return. Nothing. It was just Uncle Shang and Guoming. the city lord of Broken Sky City shook his head and said softly, "Father, Uncle Sheng needs you urgently." "Now." Duan Chong frowned slightly. "Yes, now." The city lord of Broken Sky City replied. "All right." Duan Chong nodded slightly and said to the old man in white, "Yiwen, I'll be back soon." After that, the two of them left quickly. Playing chess was just to pass the time. Yiwen did not suspect anything. He was only thinking about whether the assassin from the underworld had caught Yi Xian. As he did not know how to track people and his speed was not fast, he asked the assassin from the underworld to catch Yi Xian. As long as he caught Yi Xian, he would be able to obtain a middle-grade immortal-level divine ability. However, he did not expect Yi Xian to be so close to him. Soon, the city lord of Broken Sky City brought his father over. When Duan Chong arrived, he saw a stranger sitting in Guishang's courtyard. It was a stranger who was at immortal level 2. As for Guishang and Guaming, they were standing behind Yi Xian respectfully. At that moment, he felt that something was wrong. However, it was too late. Bang! A loud noise was heard. Duan Chong was ambushed and was controlled by Yi Xian. Everything was ready. All that was left was the last thing they needed. Guishang, Guaming, the city lord of Broken Sky City, and Duan Chong were on the same side. Hence, they would not be on guard. However, the old man in white was an outsider. If they called him over, the ambush would not succeed. Moreover, he had a pair of eyes of nature. If he burned his life force, it would not be easy to deal with him. In order not to hurt the people in the mansion, Yi Xian decided to lure him out. Call him out of the city. Chapter 14:13. Yi Xian was the first to arrive at the outskirts of the city and waited quietly. After a while, Duan Chong, Guishang, and the city master of Broken Sky City brought Yiwen over. However, Yiwen was obviously prepared as he kept a distance from Duan Chong and the rest. If there was an ambush, he could leave immediately. Immortal level 2? Yiwen suddenly felt Yi Xian's aura. He felt that the aura was similar to Zhang Xiangxi's. Duan Chong was at immortal level 3 while Guishang, the city master of Broken Sky City, and Yi Xian were only at immortal level 2. Although they had the advantage in numbers, Yiwen had the eye of nature. Hence, he was not afraid of them joining forces. Although the mysterious Heaven sect had lost a sect leader, they still had 2 immortal level 2 experts. If they were to fight, Broken Sky City would not be able to defeat the mysterious Heaven sect. After all, the mysterious Heaven sect was a sect. Duan Chong, why did you bring me out? Yiwen stopped at a distance and asked in surprise. I asked him to bring you out. Yi Xian suddenly spoke. In the next moment, his face changed and turned into the face that he had when he died. This time, Yiwen finally recognized him. It's you. The old man in white opened his eyes wide. He did not expect the immortal level 2 expert to be Yi Xian. Didn't they say that Yi Xian was only at Nirvana level 9? It had only been a day and he had broken through to immortal level 2? Even a reincarnated reincarnator would not be so strong, right? That's right, it's me. Yi Xian nodded and smiled. That day, you saved the Xianming duo demons and forced me to self-destruct 2 of my clones. Today, I'm here to take revenge. Yi Xian already had the intention to kill the old man in white. Although Lu Tiangong had saved the Xianming duo demons before, Yi Xian did not suffer any substantial losses. Hence, he spared Lu Tiangong. However, the old man in white had caused him to lose 2 of his clones and wasted 2 devour points to revive them. How could he not take revenge? 2. The white-robed elder raised an eyebrow. Yi Xian had only lost 1 clone that day, so how could there be 2 now? Of course, this was because he didn't know that Yi Xian's 2 doppelgangers were in a combined state. 1 corpse, 2 lives. The reason I lured you out is very simple, and that is to fight me. If you can win, I will let you go, Yi Xian continued. You! The white-robed old man's eyes flashed with killing intent. One had to know that Yi Xian had killed his grandson and great-grandson at the Longevity Assembly. He wanted to take revenge with his own hands. Cut the crap, let's fight. Yi Xian took out the scarlet flame sword that he'd spent a super-devouring crystal to forge into a rank 6 heavenly artifact. Apart from that, Wei Zhentian was also hovering in the air, ready to attack at any moment. If that's the case, then I'll personally capture you. After the white-robed old man finished speaking, He glanced at Duanchong and the rest fearfully. He finally understood that this was all part of the scheme of the Broken Sky City's governor. Longevity Assembly, Floating Image Crystal. Their purpose was to lure him out, or rather, destroy the mysterious Heaven sect. However, he was overthinking. The mastermind was not Duanchong, but Yi Xian. Whoosh! Whoosh! In an instant, the white-robed old man and Yi Xian attacked. The former wanted to capture Yi Xian, but Yi Xian wanted to kill the former. Both of their targets were different from each other, so their attacks were naturally different. Killing Intent Explosion. Unparalleled Flaming Dragon Slash. Yi Xian used his strongest attack as soon as he arrived. This attack was enough to instantly kill any expert at the third level of the longevity stage. Yi Wen originally wanted to capture Yi Xian, but after witnessing the power of this attack, he knew that he was too naive. Even he couldn't launch this attack, so how could he capture him? Damn it! The white-robed old man cursed in his heart. He immediately burned a large amount of his lifespan to strengthen his true qi and block Yi Xian's attack. Rumble! When the two true qis collided, the resulting shockwave seemed to be tearing the space apart. The white-robed old man had burned 20 years of his lifespan for this attack. Otherwise, he would have been in danger. In terms of cultivation base, the white-robed old man was clearly one level higher, but in terms of attack, the white-robed old man was thousands of miles away. You can block one of my attacks, but let's see how many more you can block. Yi Xian attacked again. Killing Intent Explosion. Unparalleled Flaming Dragon Slash. The white-robed old man's face was gloomy. He knew that he couldn't fight Yi Xian head-on. Otherwise, his lifespan would be depleted. However, he was too naive. Although he managed to block the second attack, there was still something hidden within the golden flame dragon. Skyquake Sword. Swish! With a crisp sound, the white-robed old man's heart was pierced, and blood spurted out. The white-robed old man was shocked. At this moment, he realized that Yi Xian could also use the 10,000 mammoth force from a distance. Clearly, he also had the eyes of 10,000 mammoth. Of course, what made him even more surprised was that he couldn't even block two of Yi Xian's attacks. In fact, Yi Xian was still holding back. He was afraid that the white-robed old man's eyes of 10,000 mammoth would be burned to ashes. Ding! The host's killing intent has increased. A system notification sounded. The white-robed old man's corpse didn't fall from the sky. Yi Xian used the 10,000 mammoth force to remove the two eyes of 10,000 mammoth. Ding! The host has devoured an eye of 10,000 mammoth. The 10,000 mammoth force has increased. Ding! The host has devoured an eye of 10,000 mammoth. The 10,000 mammoth force has increased. Two more system notifications sounded. The strength of Yi Xian's soul didn't change, but the distance between the 10,000 mammoth force and the 10,000 mammoth force from a distance had increased. This was the effect of the eyes of 10,000 mammoth. I heard that there are all kinds of eyes in this world, such as the eyes of death, the eyes of reincarnation, and so on. If I can obtain them and carry out a special devouring process, perhaps I'll have the same effect. Yi Xian was looking forward to it. Now that he had taken his revenge, Yi Xian's wish had been fulfilled. After he took the white-robed old man's ring of universe, he immediately made a clone. Broken Sky City is already under my control. Why don't I control the Mystic Heaven sect in Mount Beifeng as well? Yi Xian thought to himself as he hurried to both sides. After reaching the immortal level, his level-up experience had increased tremendously. He estimated that even if he robbed all three organizations, he wouldn't be able to break through to Immortal Level 3. Every time he broke through to the Immortal Level, his lifespan would increase by 250 years. Now that Yi Xian had a lifespan of almost 800 years, as long as he broke through again, he would be able to exchange 1,000 years of his lifespan for one devouring point. At the thought of this, Yi Xian's original body and clone quickened their pace. Chapter 14:14. Regrettably, the wealth was not enough for Yi Xian to break through to Immortal Level 3. However, just as he was ransacking empty Beifeng, three powerhouses suddenly arrived at Broken Sky City. The auras of these three experts were incomparably powerful. They directly went to the city lord's mansion. However, what surprised the people in the city was that after they entered the city lord's mansion, there was a reign of terror in the mansion. Then, the entire mansion turned into ruins, and no one survived. Duanchong, the governor of Broken Sky City, Guoshang, Guoming, and the rest without exception were all dead. With so many people dead at once, Yi Xian, who was far away in the sky, also sensed it because these people were under his control. What's going on? Why are they all dead? Yi Xian was shocked. He sensed that these people died almost at the same time. In other words, a super powerhouse killed them in one blow. It was at least immortal level 4, or even level 5. Yi Xian could not help but shudder. He immediately broke through the void and returned to Broken Sky City. Just in case, he changed his appearance and hid his aura. When he returned, he saw 3 figures standing in the sky above the governor's mansion. These 3 people were all dressed in black, and they seemed to be the underworld's assassins. It seems that my whereabouts have been exposed. These 3 people should be sent by the Xianming duo to capture me. These 3 people are at least immortal level 5. Yi Xian hid in the crowd and could not help but shudder. Fortunately, there were still some immortal level powerhouses in the city, so Yi Xian would not be noticed for the time being. It seemed that he had to leave this area and return to the Lu family. He had to use his Eye of Soul to erase everyone's memories of him. However, at this moment, Suddenly, a man in black turned his head and his gaze fell on Yi Xian. Oh no! Yi Xian's expression changed drastically. He, who had concealed his aura in assassination mode, was discovered by the other party. The other party might not be immortal level 5, but level 6. Let's go! At that moment, Yi Xian immediately broke through the void and entered. Immediately after, the black-clothed man quickly rushed down, but he missed. Damn it, you're looking for it, the man in black said in a hoarse voice. Fortunately, Yi Xian had the Eye of the Void. Otherwise, he would have been finished. The Void Locator was located at Turtle Ridge Mountain. It was created by Yi Xian in a moment of desperation. After the Void door closed, he opened another one. This time, he wanted to return to the Lu family and use the Eye of Souls to erase all memories of him. Otherwise, if the man in black knew that he went to the Penglai Divine Land through the Lu family's portal, he would be in big trouble. Although the cross-realm teleportation formation was quite a distance away from Tianju's Blood Rock continent, what if it was found? What if old immortal Tianju went out? Therefore, Yi Xian had to eliminate this possibility. He had to erase all memories of the Lu family. Besides, he had to erase the few organizations that he had been to before, such as the Thousand Beasts sect. Just in case, Yi Xian spent a total of 3 days erasing his traces. I'm afraid that Luo the sky-shaking sword, the old tree, and I have a bounty on them now. I'll try my best not to let them out. Yi Xian was slightly helpless. Who asked the Xianming duo to be so powerful? The Xianming duo had always been in the north. Therefore, Yi Xian tore open the void again and arrived at Turtle Ridge Mountain. I'm afraid the 3 men in black are still looking for me. Perhaps there are more of them. I have to leave this area as soon as possible. Yi Xian thought to himself. He left Turtle Ridge Mountain and headed north. He blamed the Xianming duo for what had happened at the Broken Sky City's governor's mansion. If he had the chance in the future, he would definitely teach the Xianming duo a lesson. In the 3 days that he was erasing his traces, Luo and the old tree had broken through to immortal level 2. In other words, the 4 of them were already at immortal level 2. With their abilities, it was not a problem for them to deal with immortal level 5 powerhouses. However, these powerhouses who came from high-level areas would not be so simple. Therefore, he had to be careful and try his best not to expose his identity. Yi Xian used shadow steps to hasten his journey. Along the way, he met many experts who were heading south. Some of them were on immortal level 3, some were on immortal level 4, and some were on immortal level 5. Anyway, these people seemed to have found out about the gold mine and rushed towards it. If Yi Xian had the ability, he could kill all of them. However, they were heading south in groups. It was not easy for Yi Xian to kill them. If he was exposed, it would be troublesome. Once he was exposed, someone might set up a checkpoint and he would not be able to continue heading north. However, on the 2nd day after he left Tortoise Mountain and headed north, ding! The Devil Tree Battle Soldier has broken through. It is currently at immortal level 3. This time, the old tree was the first to break through. After all, the Divine Tree of Life bloodline had become the immortal Phoenix bloodline. After hearing the system notification, Yi Xian didn't even have the time to congratulate him when a black figure flew over from the horizon. Immortal level 3? Yi Xian raised his eyebrows. With his eye of revelation, he could see the opponent's level. However, this time, it was not a human but a fox. Moreover, it was a black fox with 6 tails. Luo, what is this black fox? Yi Xian quickly drew a portrait and showed it to Luo, who was in the planting space. Master, this is the shadow fox bloodline of the Fox clan. They are born with assassination skills and are very difficult to deal with. Luo replied after seeing it. Shadow fox? Yi Xian narrowed his eyes. Although the shadow fox bloodline was only at immortal level 3, it had a complete charm fusion crystal in its body and the Eye of Charm. Therefore, Yi Xian's Eye of Soul might not be able to control it. Yi Xian was afraid that there would be other people around, so he decided to avoid the shadow fox bloodline. However, when the shadow fox saw Yi Xian, its eyes flashed and it dashed toward Yi Xian. It's coming? Yi Xian frowned. Previously, someone had intercepted him halfway, but after checking his interspatial ring, he left. It seemed that the shadow fox bloodline had the same idea. The shadow fox bloodline was very fast. In the blink of an eye, it arrived in front of Yi Xian. At this moment, Yi Xian realized that the shadow fox bloodline was very young. He looked to be around 13 or 14 years old. It was a young man. However, since a long time ago, one could not judge a book by its cover. Although the young man looked to be around 13 or 14 years old, he might be more than 1,000 years old. Sir, is there anything I can help you with? Yi Xian asked calmly. Where are you from? The young man asked directly. Chapter 14-15. Do you know these people? The young man took out a few portraits from his Qian Kuan ring. They were of Yi Xian, Luo, and the rest. I've never seen them before. Many people are looking for them along the way. I wonder if... Yi Xian shook his head. However, before he could finish his sentence, he felt a sharp pain in his head. Charm. The young man had used charm on Yi Xian. F***ck. Yi Xian cursed in his heart. He did not use his Eye of Soul to control the young man, but the young man had attacked him first. What the F***ck? The young man was surprised. Yi Xian was only on immortal level 2 while he was on immortal level 3. Moreover, he had mastered the Eye of Charm and the amalgamation crystal of charm. How could he fail to use charm on a person of a lower level? You're quite capable, the young man thought to himself and said, let me check your Qian Kuan ring. Subsequently, Yi Xian removed his Qian Kuan ring and tossed it to the young man. Under normal circumstances, one would not let others check their Qian Kuan ring even if the other party had a higher level than them. However, Yi Xian had encountered many people who wanted to check their Qian Kuan rings along the way, so he was very calm. He only hoped that the young man would leave after checking his Qian Kuan ring. The young man took the Qian Kuan ring and checked it carefully. He did not find anything strange, so he returned it to Yi Xian right away. How did you resist my charm? The young man could not help but ask. That's because I'm more than 1,000 years old this year. I've consumed many treasures that can increase the strength of my soul, Yi Xian answered casually. The older one was, the stronger their soul would be. Therefore it made sense. The young man did not ask any more questions after hearing that. He then walked past Yi Xian and left. Yi Xian secretly sighed in relief because he saw another person passing by through his Eye of Revelation. If the person attacked him, he might be exposed. However, after running for a while, the young man suddenly stopped in his tracks. Wait! Yi Xian subconsciously stopped when he heard the young man's voice. He turned around and asked, Is there anything else? Are you really Elder Bei Fengshan? The young man squinted his eyes slightly in disbelief. That's right. Yi Xian's heart trembled as he nodded in reply. All right, follow me to Bei Fengshan. The young man said. It seemed like the young man had discovered something. Yi Xian was very surprised in his heart. He'd used this identity to deceive quite a few people along the way, but this youth had discovered him. He didn't know what had gone wrong. Perhaps, it was just a teenager's intuition? If you wish to visit the Northern Wind Mountain, my Northern Wind Mountain will naturally welcome you. However, I still have matters to attend to, so I have to leave first. And? The young man's eyes suddenly became cold and gloomy. You may not be able to stop me. As soon as he finished speaking, Yi Xian used his shadow steps to fly into the distance. At the same time, the Shadow Fox youth immediately chased after him. The two people's speed was actually almost the same. This young man can actually catch up to me. Yi Xian could feel the Shadow Fox young man chasing after him. He could not help but tremble. Even an immortal level 4 expert would not be able to catch up with him when he used his shadow steps. However, this young man was only at level 3. It seemed like he was quite capable. Just as they started running, the young man behind them shouted, "There's only an immortal level LV3 martial artist in Mount Beifeng. Your speed has surpassed that of an immortal level LV4 martial artist. You're not from empty Beifeng." TSK. Yi Xian ignored him and continued running. If the young man continued to chase after him, he would break through the void and return to a place in front of him. Then, he would take a detour. At most, he would be late by a few days. Humph. It seems like I found the right person. You're my mission target. The Shadow Fox young man suddenly snorted. He then took out a sword and stabbed it at Yi Xian's back. "Since you're courting death, then don't blame me." Yi Xian's eyes lit up. He suddenly turned around and attacked. Killing intent explosion. Black Heaven sword skill. This time, Yi Xian did not use the unparalleled flame dragon slash as he was afraid that it would burn the Shadow Fox young man's body. Since he had been exposed, he would use the Shadow Fox young man to investigate some things. "It's really you." The Shadow Fox young man raised his eyebrows. Facing Yi Xian's attack that was not weaker than his own, his body turned into a black stream of light and successfully dodged Yi Xian's sword light. At the same time, Yi Xian also dodged his opponent's attack. "So what if it's me? Since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish." Yi Xian shouted angrily and attacked again. "Humph. You're the target of the two masters. As long as I catch you, the two masters might accept me as their disciple. Don't even think about leaving today." After the Shadow Fox young man finished speaking, he immediately counterattacked. Yi Xian was not unfamiliar with the two masters he mentioned. They were the mysterious underworld duo demons. It seemed that Yi Xian had found the right target. Previously, the white-clothed old man Yi Wen was killed by him, so he did not ask where the mysterious underworld duo demons was escorted to. Now that he heard the Shadow Fox young man's words, he immediately understood that he had found a clue. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The two of them began to exchange blows. In order to prevent the Shadow Fox young man from being impatient and being burned to ashes by the unparalleled flame dragon slash, not even leaving a corpse behind, Yi Xian used the Black Heaven sword skill of the mysterious Heaven sect. However, he also knew that he had to end the battle quickly. This was because an immortality stage level 3 expert had passed by just now. The commotion here was so big that it might attract his attention. The Shadow Fox young man dodged the attacks and attacked at the same time. At the same time, his eyes had turned pink and he was using charm to attack Yi Xian. However, in the next moment, he understood that he was not the only one who could use soul attacks. Soul Eye! Yi Xian's eyes flashed and the Shadow Fox young man felt a sharp pain in his head. In terms of soul power, Yi Xian was not any weaker than the Shadow Fox young man who was at immortality stage level 3. In addition, his soul eye had leveled up a few times and his soul attacks had surpassed the Shadow Fox young man. Good fellow. If that's the case, I'll kill you first. The Shadow Fox young man suddenly had the intention to kill. He suddenly remembered that the two masters could search one's soul regardless of whether the person was dead or alive. Northern Underworld Heavenly Water. The Shadow Fox young man's heart moved and black water droplets suddenly appeared around him. These black water droplets were like arrows that had been released from a bow and shot towards Yi Xian. Yi Xian's intuition told him that these black water droplets were not simple. Under the eye of revelation, these black water droplets contained a large amount of energy. If he was hit by these thousands of water droplets, he would definitely be riddled with holes. Chapter 14:16. Ding! Northern Underworld Heavenly Water has been successfully copied. Ding! The host has learned the middle-grade immortal skill. Northern Underworld Heavenly Water. You know it, so do I. The corners of Yi Xian's mouth slightly curled up. Using the ability of the eyes of myriad forms, he directly condensed water droplets around the Shadow Fox youth. What? The young Shadow Fox was shocked. He had only condensed the black water droplets in front of Yi Xian, but Yi Xian had condensed them around him. This meant that Yi Xian had the eye of nature. However, what surprised him the most was that Yi Xian knew this move as well. However, he couldn't care less at this moment. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The water droplets on both sides flew across the sky. These water droplets were smaller than the fingernail of a little finger, but each of them contained great power. Any one of them could pierce through the shell of an immortality level 2 mysterious spirit tortoise. With so many of them added together, it was extremely terrifying. However, at this critical moment, Yi Xian directly tore through the air and escaped this calamity. However, the young shadow fox did not have it easy. Poof, poof, poof. The young shadow fox was caught in his own trap. Although he managed to avoid many of the black water droplets, he couldn't avoid all of them. Hence, he could only protect his vital parts, but the rest of his body was affected. When Yi Xian returned, he saw that the young shadow fox's body was full of holes and blood was flowing out. It was a horrible sight. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yi Xian quickly dealt the final blow. Killing intent explosion. Black Heaven sword skill. Swoosh. The sword pierced through the sky. The young shadow fox, who had just suffered a huge blow, managed to dodge it. However, even if he could dodge it, he couldn't dodge it forever. Reincarnation flash. Fourth flash. Swoosh. With a crisp sound, the young shadow fox's head flew up and separated from his body. Ding. The host's killing intent has increased. A system notification rang out, proving that the shadow fox youth had fallen. However, there was a person in the distance who had a panoramic view of the battle. This was the immortal level 3 powerhouse who had passed by earlier. After seeing the death of the shadow fox youth, he was extremely shocked. That was the shadow fox, a level 3 immortal level. How could it die just like that? Although he was also on immortal level 3, he would definitely die within 10 moves if he were to fight with the young shadow fox. This was the difference between them. Go. Although Yi Xian was only on immortal level 2, the man was decisive and left immediately. It's too late for you to leave now. You can only blame your bad luck. Yi Xian's eyes suddenly flashed. In the next moment, the word, kill, appeared above his opponent's head. Eye of assassination. Mysterious heaven's sword art. Swish. Yi Xian instantly appeared behind his opponent and stabbed out with his sword. Puh. The unlucky passerby's heart was pierced through, and the berserk true chi crushed his heart, instantly killing him. Ding. The killing intent of the host has increased. If Yi Xian were to chase after him, he would be able to catch up with this unlucky passerby. However, there was already a battle going on here. If someone were to come, it would be troublesome. Just in case, Yi Xian used the death hunting command. The death hunting command had been upgraded once and could mark 2 people. One of them was Nailin Bing, so Yi Xian could still use it once more. Now that the other time was used to mark this unlucky passerby, it would cool down for a day. Yi Xian put away the unlucky passerby's corpse and Qian Kuan ring. He then took the lead to put away the shadow fox youth's corpse. However, at this moment, he suddenly realized that there was an additional mark in his body. Oh no, when did I get a shadow mark? Yi Xian's face was gloomy. Needless to say, this shadow mark must have been left by the shadow fox youth. However, he was surprised that he did not notice it. So what if it was a mark? Right now, he had to leave this place first. Yi Xian quickly turned around and changed his direction. After rushing for a while, he found a place to hide. Then, he searched the soul of the shadow fox youth's corpse. Using the soul eye to search the soul consumed a lot of his power. Yi Xian kept searching the shadow fox youth's memory. He saw that the shadow fox youth had come into contact with the Xian Ming duo demons. The latter went to the shadow fox branch and then left. The shadow fox branch. The shadow fox branch at the border of the land of reincarnation. The young master of the branch. 14 years old. After completing the search, Yi Xian was also shocked. This shadow fox youth was the youngest son of the shadow fox branch's leader. He was only 14 years old this year. His aptitude was a little too monstrous. After all, Luo Luo was only at immortal level 2, but she was already 16 years old this year. This shadow fox youth was younger than Luo Luo by 2 years. This was his true appearance and not because he had taken those treasures to maintain his youthful appearance. However, breaking through to immortal level before the age of 100 was not considered a big deal. Perhaps he was not smart enough and would be stuck at immortal level 3 for 1,000 years. In the path of cultivation, no one dared to be 100% sure. Of course, Yi Xian was an exception. Now, Yi Xian knew many things from this Shadow Fox youth. It turned out that the Xian Ming duo demons were from the Shadow Fox branch in their previous life and had a high status in the clan. In other words, Yi Xian found the Xian Ming duo demons clan. From now on, he did not need to chase after the Xian Ming duo demons. Instead, he had to start planning how to kill the Xian Ming duo demons. Luo, I have a shadow mark now. Can this be removed? Yi Xian could not help but ask. Although he searched the Shadow Fox youth's memory, he did not find anything related to removing the shadow mark. Shadow mark? Luo was a little surprised. After thinking for a while, she replied, "This thing is difficult to remove. It's a troublesome method of the Shadow Fox clan. I estimate that young master will need to be at least immortal level 4 or 5 to remove it." So troublesome, Yi Xian sighed. The Shadow Fox clan was a natural killer. They could hide their aura and mark. They were quite powerful. Since he could not remove it now, Yi Xian did not care. However, he suddenly remembered that this Shadow Fox youth was the young master of the Shadow Fox branch. He was the most talented person in the branch. This time he had snuck out secretly. Therefore, there would definitely be people looking for him. If Yi Xian encountered these experts, he would have to run. If he was extremely lucky, he would find money when he went out. However, if he was extremely unlucky, he would suffer even if he slept at home. Before Yi Xian started his journey, he sensed an aura coming towards him. Immortal level 5. It's coming for me. Oh no, it's an expert from the Shadow Fox clan. Yi Xian immediately reacted. The aura of this immortal level 5 expert was similar to that of the Shadow Fox youth. They should be of the same bloodline. Therefore, Yi Xian determined that they were from the Shadow Fox branch.